Welcome to the Gangcast, aka the Games and Not Games podcast. I'm Jen Garcia, and joining me, as always, is Isaiah Smith.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going good. Into the new year, we're doing better. We started off a little rough, not gonna lie, but we are significantly better compared to where we were. And you know what? From here on out, I think the year, famous last words, it's gonna be somewhat smooth sailing.
Sure. Yeah, it's been a weird time. Just to get ahead of it and let people know, I know we got at least one comment, and I definitely got some people on social asking about how we are. We're in LA, as y'all are probably familiar with, and the fires have been devastating the landscape for days to weeks at this point. We are very fortunate in that we are in an area that is not, never became an evacuation zone. And we also don't have any additional, we did not have a need to evacuate. I know some people also just evacuated either to get ahead of it, or maybe they have additional health issues that make it dangerous.
The air quality has been really up and down.
Yeah. Remember those masks from COVID? We never took our foot off the gas of those masks. So we've been masking up as we've gone outside. But yeah, it is a bad time for the city. But we are all right. We're safe. We aren't in any need of any specific aid or anything like that. So that's good on our part for us. But obviously, we'll be working on ways to help rebuild over these next couple months to, frankly, probably years.
I think it's going to take a while to fully get back to a citywide sense of normal, or area-wide sense of normal for a lot of people. The fires are still technically going. Like they're more contained than they were, last week or anything like that. But like they're still not done. They're not out. It'll take a while. But I think the city, the area, everyone seems to be coming together. A lot of people
are really speed running this. The aid efforts have been really good.
Super good. Yeah.
I think people forget that part of the benefit of being a big city is you have a lot of people and I don't know.
With a lot of people comes a lot of help.
I do. Yeah. I do think, I think it's easy to be down about a lot of things societally kind of all the time, but I do believe in the goodness of people and things like that. And I feel like there's a lot of evidence supporting that you can see across the city in different shelters, organizations getting maxed out on donations pretty quickly, which is great. And then you can kind of, spread those efforts out. And it's also just cool to see everybody, I think, do what I think makes the most sense, which is take their skill set and apply it to what's going on. So I follow a lot of fashion people, and fashion people are they're obviously doing a lot of the clothes stuff, or they're building bundles for people, or doing free thrift kind of, stylings and things like that. Obviously in the gaming side of things, I've seen a couple people already do some fundraising streams. I'm going to do my own stream at some point and stuff. And just I feel like everyone's kind of taking, you see the food vendors, they're making food for, everyone's taking their angle and
gyms
their niche.
Are coming out come through, shower here if you need to.
I saw an artist who said they would draw your house for free if it was burned in the fire, an image of your house, stuff like that, where it's oh man, that's so cool that people can, take what their niche is and their passion and put it towards good.
Yeah.
I think there's something really sweet about that. So just wanted to address it at the top for people wondering. And then unrelated to that too, going into the new year, we are now back to our regular schedule, which is great. We'll have our weekly episodes. Keep writing in with those questions. We do have a question from Anna that we got in November about running, which we do intend to address that. Anna, if you're listening, we did not forget about your question. We just want to, we try to spread out the kinds of topics we do. So we had done kind of a lot of workouty ones recently. And coincidentally enough, again, tying back actually to the fires I was just talking about, we signed up for a race that then got postponed. Do you remember it was it was the Chinatown
5/10K.
Yeah.
I think it was originally for February 2nd. But a part of there's also a biking path, which might be a little bit longer than 10K. But I think as a part of the biking path, some of it was going through Pasadena and these areas that were more heavily affected by the fire. And so they not only postponed the foot race, which, effectively could have probably been more easily rerouted, But like they're also, redoing the path for like the longer races as a part of this race as well. Just to make sure that like, like it's the path is laid out and people like, are going to have like free access to it, or easier access to it and everything like that. So yeah. We don't know when that's postponed for, but I guess we'll find out eventually.
Yeah, specifically if for those interested, it's the Firecracker 10K, 5K thing for Chinese New Year, the year of the snake is this year. So, and I've been wanting to do that race for a while too. It's been on my list for like 1 or 2 years just because it seems cool. So yeah, hopefully we get to do that when it is safe to do so. And worst case scenario, there's always next year. I'm sure they would potentially maybe defer that or refund and whatever. So yeah, definitely a lot of running stuff going on in the year. And that's it for stuff that I want to address at the top. So unless you have anything to add, are we ready to get to games?
Let's talk games.
The Switch 2 is here. Throw your old Switch in the garbage can. Don't actually do that. That's really bad environmentally. If you really want to get rid of it, just trade it in somewhere. So then they can throw the Switch in the garbage can. Anyway, Switch 2. The trailer dropped. It's the first look trailer. Before we get into what we saw and how we felt about what we saw, I want to know, Isaiah, where was your head at going into this trailer? And did you see any of the leaks and all that stuff?
I definitely saw some leaks. Not like a whole lot. Like, are
you a leak man?
No, my approach to leaks is like...
Do you seek the leak?
No, a sneaky leak. No, I am of the mindset where it's like, I want to know when leaks happen so that I can like avoid them, as best I can, kind of thing. But I'm not so avoidant that I'm gonna like stop my normal flow, right? I'm still gonna hit up my social media. I'm still gonna, hit up YouTube. I just scroll past the videos that's like, oh, we're deep diving into the Nintendo leaks or anything like that.
So you don't click on any links that detail?
No, but I don't like go blackout on the internet to avoid like crazy spoil. Like I for the most part browse, social medias and everything like that normal. I just make sure not to like dig deeper into things that seem to be going into leaks. Just because, and to me, it's just more like, oh, I want to receive it the way that like the company intended for it to be launched and like received and stuff. Obviously some stuff with the, Switch 2, just from a spoiler standpoint, I found out about earlier, like, oh, it's going to be a little bit bigger, this, that, and the third. And it's like, all right, well, I kind of expected that anyway. So I guess like the leak is really just confirming what I assumed. But then Nintendo came out and actually confirmed a lot of what I assumed. So yeah, I don't know. Are you a leak person and you talk about it a lot more? You generally have your finger on the pulse a lot more. So like, are you like deep diving, trying to get every nitty gritty detail so you could talk about it? What's your process?
I hate leaks. I'm not interested in leaks. Mostly just because you never know if they're true or not, especially in the games industry. Like we've had many inaccurate leaks, so I also just don't care from that perspective. And it's a very, my job is very speculation / vibes heavy in terms of coverage, which is something I don't think we think a lot about. Like so much of talking about a game is like before the game is out. And then when the game comes out, you have like one piece of content that like either, even if you write, it's like, oh, it's a review or whatever. And then after that, maybe it comes up again for like end of year stuff, but that's it. Like the amount of time you spend talking about Starfield is way bigger than like when it comes out, you like have one episode and you're like, this is how it was. And then then it's over. And obviously it's not always the case. Like I know with our show, we intend to do a little bit more like if we're still playing it, we're still kind of talking about it. But so I'm like, I just feel like it's extra work. And I just feel like it's a little too, I'd rather just speculate on the little details we do have on things than speculate on details that we might not even really have.
Sure.
And if I have to do it for work, I don't mind doing it. Like I know we've, back when I did PS I Love You on Kind of Funny, we did a lot of sometimes we talk about like the patents and stuff like that. But I feel like that makes sense for that show at the time because it was just a show on PlayStation. So I feel like if I just did a Nintendo show, I would be a lot more down to like analyze leaks and discuss them and stuff. But like outside, if it's just general, I'm like, nah, I don't really care. And I like to be sort of surprised by stuff. So I don't seek out.
I don't know, a sense of fun to
Yeah, I have fun with it. So
Waiting.
I don't like seeing, but even with that, I saw like everything. I feel just because,
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, well, everyone was talking about them for like weeks about like, the one thing I did click, because I was like, I'm really curious about this, was the news that broke from CES that an accessories manufacturer had made a fake version of the Nintendo Switch 2 to show off their accessories that will work for it. So I was like, I gotta see what that's wild. Like, and I was just very taken by that story because it was so unusual. I'm like, I have to see a little bit more because I think that's like the wildest thing I've ever heard. And like, how is Nintendo, like, how could, I just was shocked by that. I just thought that was wild. So I looked at that a little bit, but everything else I just kind of found out from, I don't know, somebody mentions it vaguely and you just catch it like you catch anything else. So yeah, same as you. I was like, okay, this is what people said it would be, which is like a bigger, allegedly more souped up Switch.
Yeah. That's the other thing too. Well, which I'm sure we'll get into in a little bit, but it's like all the leaks that I saw were very like ergonomic focused things. Like no one has leaked to me. Again, as far as I know, the stuff that I've seen, no one really leaked like internal specs or like, you know, even like detailed hardware stuff. It's like, oh yeah, like there's a button here, but like no one knows what that button really does, or like, there's this sensor here, and it's like, all right, well, like what is it? Like the second USB-C port. It's like, oh yeah, people speculated in leaks that like, oh yeah, there's a USB-C port now at the top, and it's like, all right, well, what does it do? No one knows. So it's like, well, I mean, we assume, you know, I don't know.
You hook your PlayStation up to it, and then they talk to each other.
Crazy.
So yeah, getting into the trailer, here's some things that we saw from it. It's a bigger Switch, so they have a bigger screen, a bigger Joy-Con to go with that. They are
finally. I got big man hands.
Your big meaty claws.
Having bigger Joy-Con.
I have tiny baby hands, so I am a little bit like bigger Switch. Did you want a bigger Switch?
I didn't necessarily need a bigger Switch, but I'm not gonna say no to a bigger Switch. I like my Steam Deck because it's a little bit bigger, and so inherently it's more comfortable to play, especially for like longer play sessions. So I'm all for bigger. You know,
I like a bigger screen. I'm worried about the weight of the Switch, though nothing can be as heavy as the Steam Deck. The Steam Deck weighs a lot of.
I think it definitely does, but also I think the Steam Deck is really well balanced. So like when I'm playing on the Steam Deck, even though it is like heavier, it doesn't feel as heavy. Like I can still play it for a long time without feeling like, oh, my hands are tired or my arms are tired. It also could be a lot. Oh, really?
No, hell no. I never held that thing. I don't hold it when I play it. I put it on a pillow or something. I'm never holding it.
Oh, interesting.
I cannot hold that thing. What is it? What am I at a freaking? What am I training for? Holding the Steam Deck to play?
I have no problem with it. I mean, you know, hey, different ergonomics, right? They came out with a Steam Deck Lite. Maybe that'd be like then your perfect device, where like you can take it on a plane and play it for hours.
Yeah, like it is the heaviest 1.5 pounds that I've ever held. Because I was looking up the weight. I'm like, this has to be like an easy 7-pound device, right? No, I think this thing is it's honestly terrifying. Like the Steam Deck is horrifically large, terribly heavy. It does feel good. I do think it has like a luxurious feel to like the buttons, and I'm very curious how like the Switch will feel in comparison to the Switch 1 than the Steam Deck, because I don't think it's going to feel as good as the Steam Deck. Because
my thing with the Steam Deck is that, and you keep comparing it to the Steam Deck or the Switch and Steam Deck comparison, is that like my thing with the Switch 1 rather is that it's a tablet that like has a little bit of ergonomic in the Joy-Cons for holding, and it doesn't seem like they changed that for the Switch 2. It still looks very like
it's a flat
tablet.
Slab.
Yeah, and that to me is like really hard to hold. It's like holding your iPad. Like I do this like the for like extended periods of time.
The grippies for the Steam Deck. Again, the Steam Deck feels good to hold. It's just very heavy.
It is so heavy. Good to hold over light though.
I'd take a light. I think I would take a light, but I don't find the Switch bad to hold. I never was like,
oh, that's crazy to me.
I never felt like I was mad at it. No.
It's terrible. You guys got little.
You guys get everything. This is what we get, you know.
Yeah.
Like I saw. It's funny. I saw a lot of not a lot, like 2 like creators on TikTok. Rip. You know, we'll talk about that later too on the not game segment. But talking about like they're really upset with how boring and big the Switch is. They're like, I don't want a big console and I don't want an ugly, boring, gray blob. I like because, you know, a lot of those creators either came into or sort of thrived in that, you know, the Switch had such fun colors and that was such a big part of the Switch's identity. And I'm sure there'll be like fun Joy-Con as well, or like I at least am assuming that they will have some at some point. But yeah, I think that was funny from the other end as well. Because yeah, like as a, you know, women are typically smaller than men, and it's like, yeah, pretty colors, small thing to hold. Yay. You know, and yeah, the Steam Deck is not the Steam Deck. The Switch 2 is very like back to neutral because the Joy-Con are also gray predominantly now, and they have like a little bit of undercolor in like the inside parts. So, and we don't know also if they're launching with like a different colorway either.
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
Because the OG Switch is gray, which I know a lot of, again, people having those conversations being like, well, it always starts more like, you know,
tame,
dry than not. But I definitely think it'd be fun if they had something a little bit more fun in companion to it. But I don't think they will. I think they're maybe too worried about moving people along through things.
I think that it really is going to come down to also what launch games it has. Like, I can totally see them doing a I don't know, Wii Sports Island bundle or something like that, and it has like a lighter, airy, almost like pastel-y kind of colorway to it, or something like, or you know, the Mario Kart they show in the trailer. It's like, oh yeah, they're gonna have, you know, that classic red blue theme or something like that, I imagine.
Yeah,
you know?
It does technically have more colors than the OG Switch because the OG Switch only has like an all gray.
Yeah, this at least has a little like blue and red ring around the analogs.
Yeah, which I think is cute. We saw one again. A big thing from the leaks was the magnetic kind of attachment where it's not a snap anymore; it's like a clap. Of the Joy-Con latching onto the device or latching onto the I've heard the official name for it, but people call it the dog controller. You know, the shell.
Yeah.
So there's that, and then the only other things that we saw that we haven't mentioned are hints at things / like unknowns. Like, is there mouse functionality? Like that was a big talking point because they don't speak in this video. It's just like a tech flyby video, and then also they have that C button that's under the right Joy-Con. It doesn't say C on it though. It said C in the leaks. They scratched it off in anger, and then they refilmed that section. We don't know what that button's for. What do you want that button to be for? What button is gaming missing? We already got the share button, which I think was a huge
So this is separate from
innovation.
share, and it's separate from the little Amoeba. What is it? Amiibo sensor button thing, right?
The Amiibo were read by the
right.
AR sensor. I forget how they're read on the Switch one.
There's a button now on the.
It's not a button. You kind of just put them on. You put them on like the top of the right stick or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I guess if I had to guess, it is a.
And it's not the home button, to be clear. It's under the home button.
Oh, really? Maybe I haven't seen this.
Yeah, let me grab that for you.
Interesting.
Just to make it. Yeah, it's funny when you have a trailer like this, if you end up like really deep diving into
on the
it,
right Joy-Con.
Yeah. Yeah, it's under the home button. It's like
it's home
square and it's totally flat.
No, that exists already on the Wiimote.
No, there's one on there's also one on the left already.
Oh,
there's one on the. So if you look at like this, I'll explain to like audio people. If you look at the Switch 2 on the left side, they have like the not D-pad, right?
Yeah.
Legally distinct not D-pad, and a little button underneath. That's the share button, screenshot button, record button. Then on the right side, they have the home button, but under that, another button.
Okay, I see.
When you press that, what do you want to have? Now, some people are speculating that it's maybe casting to TV without using the dock, creating a dual screen situation, bringing back the Wii U, bringing back the 3DS.
What do you mean by casting to the screen without the dock?
I don't know. That's just what people said.
what does that even mean?
That's just what people said.
Like an airplane?
That's what people said.
A Chromecast built into the Switch 2?
I am just speaking to what the people have said. That this is what the people have said.
That's
Now, granted, are they people that know anything else about technology other than video games? No, not really. Not largely. I'm speaking to people who just
I'm gonna go
games.
Classic pair button. Even though I'm sure the pair button is actually on the side of the Joy-Con.
I'm thinking if it's not
the
weirdo Magic Chromecast.
Yeah.
If it's not Nintendo Cast, which they totally could sell, and I would buy a little thing to stick into my TV for sure. Because that was a big gripe people had with the Nintendo Switch, which is like on the go, it's like a pain in the ass.
I guess if it's like it casts it to the dock, which is plugged into the TV, I guess I could see that tech. Still a little weird, but I could see that being a thing.
Maybe they sell Nintendcast. You plug it in inside the Chromecast. That would be sweet. And I would buy that immediately. You cannot laugh at me because you bought the PlayStation 5 remote.
I did.
I don't think anyone who bought that remote should be laughing at anyone.
No, that's fair. We did use it until we didn't.
We used it like one time. Do you even? I'll give you $20 if you can find that remote for me.
Oh, I can easily find it. Yeah,
within 5 minutes.
It's probably in just the controller drawer.
Maybe it is. I don't know.
Yeah. What do you mean?
Who put it in the controller drawer? It was me. So anyway, okay.
Yeah, until we didn't use it. I don't know.
They're bringing back PictoChat. You can like link to other people with it. I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be anything interesting. I don't.
Why do they have it on there?
Man, it's a really good question. Maybe it's like it turns it into mouse mode or something. Who knows?
You know what? Honestly, that makes a lot more sense, actually. Yeah. But no, I don't think so, because I feel like when you have like funky peripherals or different use cases, they're still integrated with like controller scheme setup. Well, like I don't think they would be.
Do we know that it's a button? As opposed to just like a little sensor pad? Could it be like a little Touch ID thing?
We do not know. I think we know it's a button because it's pressable, and it's something you're a developer.
Here, I'm gonna look.
You're a developer. If you can press something, does that make it a button?
Yes, but I don't know that it's pressable.
It has like an indentation here.
Yeah, but they do the fake presses on all the buttons. I'm curious if they do it on that little button.
I mean, it's a raised surface.
I don't think it's a button. I think it's a sensor pad. I'm going with that now.
It's so small for a sensor pad. Maybe it is.
Hey, man.
I'm gonna say it's the Nintendo Switch Chromecast.
All right.
That's what that button is.
We'll find out.
And that's what I would want it to be.
Later this year.
That's what I would want it to be. If they could do something like that, that would be fun.
It's a dedicated YouTube button.
Oh man, Netflix never came to Switch One, right?
It's like the iPhone action button, actually. If it is a button, I could see it being something like that.
Like you could map it to be whatever you want.
Yeah, or something like that.
What is the iPhone action button again?
It's literally just instead of
it's only on your phone, right?
The newer phones have it too.
Yeah, so for us brokies, we don't. Isaiah, explain what to the broke people what you're talking about.
It is a auxiliary button on the side of your iPhone, above the volume rocker or volume buttons, whatever you want to call them.
Wow, so fancy.
And it's a button that you can change what the button does. So like by default, I think it just like turns on like silence, kind of like the little switch that used to be there. You can have it do that. You can have it open the camera app. You can have it run a shortcut. You can have it do like some home automation stuff. Like it's just a quick command button built onto the phone.
Cool.
If it is a button on this Joy-Con, then that's what I'm guessing it is. I also could just see it being a sensor for something.
Okay, so that's what we know and what we don't know.
So not a lot.
Yeah, not a lot, but we will learn more on their direct for the Switch 2, which is happening April 2nd. And they are also creating a series of Nintendo Switch 2 experiences. We can go hands-on, the public. You sign up, and if you put your name in the raffle, and if you get picked, you get to go. We put our name in there. Isaiah, just what was that process like?
Your brother Edwin came over, and after he was hanging out and everything like that, we were like, all right, 12 o'clock's coming. Let's all come to the kitchen table, open our laptops. We're going to try to get in this raffle, get in this selection. And the classic Nintendo fashion, the site just could not handle anything more than just opening. Barely could handle opening, in fact. Like sometimes you hit the site and you just got to refresh because it's just like, oh, page could not load. I don't know if it's that they were getting just completely hammered by everyone trying to sign up for this raffle. If it was just that they didn't expect as many people to try to sign up for this raffle, because the event is only happening in 3 cities: New York City, Los Angeles, and Dallas.
At least domestically. I do think they have some overseas stuff, but yeah.
But I imagine it's a different site. I don't think I saw anything outside of just those 3 here in the US. And so maybe they thought like, oh, it's only 3 cities. Who's going to be flying into one of these cities to try and play with the Switch after the presentation that who knows? But man, we spent it had to have been 45 minutes. I have the
time here because I started using Toggle. Maybe we'll talk about that more in another episode.
Yeah.
We got there early because here's the thing, guys. I'm going to try to get rid of my bitterness for a second. Okay. This is not my first time trying to do anything like this. And I find sometimes, not usually for something like Nintendo events, but for something like, I don't know, a Ticketmaster, other stuff, they'll say what time it is, but in reality, there's a queue before, which I hate that. I think that is a scam. I think you should be arrested for running that interface, because why do you tell me to get there at a time when really I'm supposed to be there at a different time?
Yeah.
Like, just give me all the information I need and let me make my decision. That stuff drives me up the wall. So just, I didn't think they were going to do that, but I started checking it. We started checking at 11:50. From 11:50 to 12:39, we were working on getting these tickets. It took 49 minutes and 31 seconds.
That sounds right.
So, and we did eventually get through, thanks to you. You're the only one who got through. We tried to, so they also had a thing, which I think is like, it's half cool and then half like kind of messed up. It depends on how you look at it, but they made it where you can have up to either, is it 5 total or 5 extra? I think 5 total. Maybe.
I think you can choose up to 5.
You can choose up to 5 people to like be on your, I'm putting my name down and 5 guests or whatever. But it's only if you're together in a family plan.
Yeah, like the
for Nintendo
family.
Online.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of messed up because that is a paid service. But I don't know. It's like I kind of get, like, how do you feel about that? Is that fair or foul?
I think it's fair because in my mind, it is not you then taking up additional slots. I think it's, you and your 4 or 5 friends,
the
whatever,
Nintendo
can
family.
take over can join you while you're in your slot, kind of thing. In which case, it's like, all right, cool, that's fine. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice if they had at least some type of alternative. I think that's a little bit. It's a little much to like.
Well, the alternative is just
everyone just
does it themselves. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's hard to like get in together at the same. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I just feel like it is definitely giving. Let's throw in another perk to like this community, but also I don't know. That is your hardcore fan base, so I'm not like too mad at it. But I was a little bit like, man, it's a good time to have that Nintendo Family Plan, which thankfully Edwin forgot to cancel because I stopped paying for it. So shout out to forgetting to cancel that. So yeah, we got there. It also means that we could only put 1 bid in because like since my name is down on yours, it's not like I can put an extra one, which I'm a little bummed out in terms of trying to get odds of going, but I think does make sense for them trying to be like, hey, you shouldn't get to put your name down 3 times. Yeah. Your name and your Nintendo account's already like attached to this thing, whatever. So, and honestly, even though it was a generally bad experience, I've had worse experiences. You trying to get that PlayStation for the anniversary.
Man.
It would have been better if they a raffle would have been way more fair than how they did that. So
yeah, that's what they did. But
the fact that it took you 50 minutes to get into a raffle, I think is a little ridiculous.
It is a little wild, especially since like it wasn't even like consistently failing anywhere. It would fail at different parts of the process. Like loading the page would sometimes fail. Sometimes you load the page, but you can't see the time slots. Sometimes you see the time slots, but you can't find your family members in your Nintendo plan. Yeah. Sometimes you find the Nintendo family members and you go to submit and it's just the whole site just crashes. Like it was like the boss run gauntlet of trying to sign up for something. It's like, I need to skate perfect in order to get into this raffle.
Yeah, but we did it, and hopefully we get picked.
And then
we'll get to go.
Thought about flying to Dallas?
Yeah, Isaiah hates Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, including the Nintendo Switch. See, there's so many pieces of content, conversations we could have. Here's the thing. Look, I'm sure Dallas, Texas is a fine place. I've been there. I worked there for a summer, and I spent a little time in Dallas. It's not exactly going to cost us more than hanging out here in LA. Let's be real. Once we Spirit Airlines our way over there.
Can't do that.
You have a friend there, so we could stay there for free.
That is true.
The meal there? That's not going to be that expensive,
If it was like Vegas, something where you could drive in a day, easy, sure, I could see that. Especially with, we're going to stay tonight at a friend's house, something like that, cool. But you want me to fly? You want me to wake up and go to the LAX to get on a Spirit airline plane?
A quick little flight.
It's not even quick. It's like 3.5, 4 hours.
It's like 2 hours. It's like 2.5 hours.
It's like 3.5 hours.
Look, I'm just saying
which is
that
not long.
one of us
Again,
is
I've flown
willing
coast to coast most of my life, just going from New York to California. But
one of us is
man.
willing to do what it takes to give you guys a good show, and the other person's Isaiah. I don't know.
Hey, I got us into this LA raffle.
You did get us into
right?
the LA raffle. Yeah,
I did my part.
And that's the other thing too. I was like, well, it's not like we're automatically going to get it. We can just kind of see what happens with it. Let me look right now. I'm just curious. I'm gonna get all these ads for flights now to Texas. Honestly, it's a little bit more than maybe I'd want to spend. I don't know if they're just not bringing Spirit up here or what, because I'm seeing flights for like $263, which is a little steep.
They know people are flying in for this.
Well, I did it for like
experience.
February, whatever. So anyway, I think for a quick $100, $150 ish, and then hang out in Texas, do some other things, like spin around. I can make my my famous playlist that I make when we go to different areas, that make the Stallions everything bigger in Texas. Yeah, like it'd be fun. It would be fun, but it would
be something.
But I'm hopeful that we get into this LA one in where is it like TV City or something?
Television Studio or Television City?
It's
something like that.
Yeah, it's somewhere like that. So the also worth noting before we move on from Nintendo stuff, the sign up is still available also. Yes. I believe so. And you said it's open until like
I want to say I read it was the 26th is when the entries close.
Yeah, so you can still enter. I have no idea if they have any favoritism for early or not.
I hope so. We were right there as soon as we could. We got
it. Also, like I wonder too. Like I'm petty, so I'm like, are they like looking at all like your Nintendo account history or something? Like I haven't played anything in a while.
I bought some games this year. They'll look at that. Like
I buy games. I bought games too. I bought some games. I buy games every year because they don't provide any codes
for
their titles. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we get to do it. And if not, hey, one less thing I have to do that day.
Yeah.
So it's a win either way.
Yeah.
Before we move on from Nintendo though, I do want to ask you on the record where you're at with this Nintendo Switch 2. You're not buying it? You are buying it?
It's gonna really come down to what games launch with it.
What would make you buy it?
A 3D Mario.
Okay.
Like a 3D open world Mario. Like an Odyssey.
Yeah. Odyssey 2.
Odyssey 2. I'm so fucking there for Odyssey 2. Odyssey, I think, is the best game on this platform. So, Odyssey 2?
More than Breath of the Wild?
Yeah.
That's...
Yeah. I'm not saying it's as big. I think most people would say that Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, mostly Breath of the Wild.
Also, I just realized I forgot to decorate the set again.
I think most people would say that Breath of the Wild is the best game on Switch. I say Odyssey by like a smidge. Not a lot.
You're sick for that.
But by a smidge.
Honestly,
it's so
disgusting.
Good. Odyssey is stupid.
Odyssey is really good.
Odyssey is the best Mario game. It is. It's the best Mario game.
It might be the best Mario game. It might be. I haven't played Galaxy yet, so people really like Galaxy has some big fans.
I've played a little bit of Galaxy.
It's tough because it is so clunky to go back to, but Mario 64, it's really good.
Now, if they remake Mario 64,
that's what I mean. Because that's like kind of how I'm looking at it. Like I get like. Obviously, like we as you play one, you're gonna play Odyssey because Odyssey just plays way better. But design wise, vibes wise, I think I'm probably going still 64. It's like really good.
Sorry, I mean like what would get me to buy a Switch 2 day one is like, if they like did
Odyssey, or a new
Mario 64, but in like the Odyssey engine or whatever.
Oh yeah, that'd be really great.
I don't know if that would sell me. I mean, I think at that point I'd still would probably just share the Switch with you because you're getting one.
I'm getting one. There's literally before they even showed anything.
Yeah,
I was like, I told Isaiah they could have showed me a rock that said Nintendo on it, and I would buy it just to be like, here's what's up with this rock. Like, I don't know if they could make a product bad enough where I would not buy it. I don't think that's. I mean, that did happen with the Wii for me, but also I was a different context. I was like a kid who didn't have this as a job.
Which is crazy to me because the Wii was like, oh, this is cool, this is new, this is funky.
I hate, we talk about this so often. The motion control thing I always found stupid, and I still find motion controls pretty stupid.
It is dumb, but it was cool.
I never thought it was cool. Like I just got to be on the record, and it's not that I'm not above using motion controls. Usually when games have it available, I use it, and I will go as far as to say there are times I've seen it be beneficial. I think Splatoon is an incredible use of motion controls. I find it very comfortable to play that game with motion controls. And it's actually my preferred way to play. Like, I know some people turn it off. I think that game works well with it. There's other games that integrate. I love Ring Fit Adventure. I'm not against using motion controls, but motion controls as like you should be excited because we cut our controller in half and now you have to use motion controls. I was like, why would I be excited about that? That sounds awful. So yeah, that was my thought. And I looked over on the other end of the aisle and they're like, we have guns. And I'm like, I don't think I want to be doing any of this, guys. I think I'm done gaming. And I'm just going to like watch TV for a little while because you guys are on, the type of stuff you're on, I don't understand. And that was me in that era.
I don't know. I will say it's something special about the Wii. We had that like commercial moment, like the Wii U was set up in our living room.
What do you mean the Wii?
Or sorry, the Wii was set up in our living room. Somebody would go on Wii bowling. Dad and grandma and everyone would come through and do their little bowl. Like it was a very picturesque, like commercially kind of moment that is special. And I don't know if and when we'll ever get that again. I think
if you could look at, and not even like it was like, oh, we were so destitute or something. I think if you could look at the bedrooms that we grew up in and picture just like me and Edwin, nobody else. Because the thought of playing a video game with my parents, never even considered to ask. Wouldn't dare ask them to spend their time that way. Didn't have family visit like that. My uncle came by sometimes, but he's not. You met my uncle. Does that look like a man who's going to bowl? No. He's a great man, but he's not.
Not at all.
That's not his vibe.
Yeah.
If you could see, okay, so here's the thing, and I'm going to try to describe this briefly for people who don't have the context you have of, you live with me now. Our room setup was pretty smallish. Like the bed took up a lot of the room. Mm. So you kind of had just like a walkway, like it was like bed, slight walkway window, almost like in our bedroom. You know how I have that walkway into my bed because it's kind of tight?
Sure.
So that kind of tightness. Picture like one of those aisles, the only place that you can really stand to do something like that. And then picture just me and Edwin bowling back to back. Why would we do that? Why would that be fun?
I mean, I guess that's fair. That's fair.
But like it is, I cannot think of anything. And hey, you have good memories. Listeners have good memories. I'm not going to try to take that away from you.
I think you are in the minority here.
Definitely. Yeah. I cannot think of anything I want to do less than do. Like, how is that more fun than any of the other games we were playing?
It was so fun.
Like, how is that? Like, we had Smash Bros. Melee. You want me to freaking whip a remote to pretend I'm bowling?
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Bye.
That was the gaming moment of the year.
I do think, to be honest, a lot of that stuff, like, you really did have to be in that era and be bought into the moment. Because when I go back to a lot of those games, because even like the Rock Band stuff and Guitar Hero stuff, I never got into at the time. When I play it now, it don't really hit for me like that. I gotta be honest. And I wish it did. It doesn't. Does it hit for you going back to that kind of stuff?
It still does kind of hit, yeah. I do wish it had like modern music. Like a new one would have modern hits.
Well, crimes are
like
always on the table.
Crimes are always on the table. Something to explore during the next break, I guess. But like, yeah, no, I think just the act of that timing hitting that, like the rhythm game in general is still fun.
I think you just had to have been there to like, because I like Beat Saber a lot. And it's the same concept. Yeah. It's like Beat Saber is equally as dumb as Rock Band. And I'm not saying Rock Band is dumb, but it's just like, it's a peripheral rhythm. It's a very specific kind of game. I think you need to have been like, this was my thing. Because when I go back, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be fun because like I never had to play this game, and people say it's like one of the greatest games ever, and it's like so great. And I'm like, it's all right. Like I'm kind of just like I'm very whelmed playing it. If this is
you have no soul.
If this is a safe space to confess, I'm like, this is all right.
Listen and we don't.
This is all right. Yeah, this is gonna be. But anyway, the Switch doesn't have any of that stuff going on, so we will see the Switch 2 rather. What kind of gimmicks they have in the store? Because again, they have that potential mouse as the Joy-Con.
I just don't know
mystery
who's
C
that
button.
For. What? And I'm sure again they'll probably make a Mario or something.
I'm gonna finally finish that level. Remember I was making that level?
Yeah. But my thing is like in what. The screen isn't that big. It's not even like laptop size. You know what I mean? So it's like, for people who want to play like an RTS or something, they're going to do that on a regular laptop to get the better screen real estate and, probably higher fidelity and everything like that. I guess maybe like a Mario Maker, kind of like you quickly hop into Maker mode and you use the mouse to drag things around.
Mario Paint, like, the little music stuff, all that.
I guess. I don't know. We'll see.
If they let me plug in a keyboard to that, I can play typing games on there. Mario typing. Teaches typing. I don't know that game. Mario Typist? Like, I don't know.
I mean, that would be cool, but then I don't know. Are you lugging around a keyboard too now? Like, it's
if they sell me one with Pokemon on it, I'll buy it.
When they
sell me the Nintendo keyboard, you don't think I'm gonna buy the Nintendo keyboard? I should stop talking now before they start making more stuff for me to buy. I'm not gonna lie, I still want that Labo piano a little bit.
Yeah.
I think it'd be fun because I play piano, so it's like okay, like you know, like a little labo one. Anyway, the point is, I'll buy almost any dumb Nintendo thing except for I skipped the Wii. That's the only thing I skipped, and I know some people don't think it's dumb, but I was like, hey, this is a little silly. Cool. Games we played over break. Let's stop talking about games that we might play and talk about games that we did play.
Yeah, there you go.
Isaiah, you got which of us do you want to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, I'm gonna keep mine pretty brief because you have a lot of you got a lot to unpack. More, yeah. I finally finished Crypt Master. Quick shout out to that.
Yeah. What'd you think?
Typing dungeon crawler game. I liked it still. Like I still really have a lot of love for that game. I do think towards the end I was like, you're not as good as I thought you were. Like it kind of just it got like knocked a notch down for me. Just because it got the enemies got very spongy. You kind of end up, I do think it sometimes can bump against like the way you unlock abilities is like you get letters that feel like it's such a tough game to describe in a way that's like succinct and short. But like under your name, a character's name, like you have what's one of the characters' names? Maz or something. I don't know. Whatever. You have a character name and then you have blank spaces. You fill in letters, almost like a kind of hangman style, and then you can guess like a power. So, you know, maybe it'll be like hit is like one of the first ones you get. And it's like HIT, boom, hit. That's like a power you have. But sometimes it's also just like lore. It'll be like candy. And it'll be like, as a kid, they loved candy. Yeah. And it's like, that's kind of amusing. And then they open up a new one. So it takes a while to unlock abilities. So I kind of ended with like, not maybe the biggest suite of abilities combined with the enemies being really like beefy with HP. HP is represented by like the number of letters in their name. And then because there's also like things that help make the combat interesting, but that also inherently limits what you can do. So you might have something like you can't use any spells with M or like I or something. It's okay, well, I can't use hit. I can't use like grin because that buffs, but it has an I. So that combo, it felt a little too rough for me by the end where I was like, I need to finish this game because I don't want to have to like fight people anymore. I'm really weak. I'm burning through a lot of like healing things. And that's the bit of the game that I didn't enjoy as much and where I think the game kind of struggles a little bit. But I still think it's really, really cool. If you like riddles, if you like guessing words, like given, you know, unlocking letters and guessing what a word might be. And if you like, what's the other form of kind of riddles they have? Sort of like a mini version of 20 questions. It's like 5 or 6 questions. But instead of like just yes or no, it's like sensory based, like taste this, touch this, lift this, like, and then the guy tells you and you use that to guess the item. Like if those things seem cool to you, you really have to play this game. If those seem kind of like boring to you, probs not. But it's funny because my colleague Jacob over on MinMax was like, yeah, I played this and I just feel like it was interesting, but like it wasn't fun. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. Like I had so much fun playing this game, but I think that's because I'm a word nerd. So it's like you do kind of have to be a little bit, that stuff has to be exciting to you. And if it's not, like that is kind of what makes the game fun. You played it a bit. I don't know if you have anything to kind of add to that assessment.
No, I mean, I think that's pretty spot on. And I will say that for me, if I sat down and played this, I would find a lot of the riddles that they give you very like trivial.
Yeah.
But I'm a riddle person, so I've seen a lot of like the base of riddles, and you know, it's like the whole like, oh, what word when you add 2 letters gets shorter? And it's like, all right, well, I've heard that 1,000 times.
I've
seen
never
that
heard
1,000 times.
Now you got me thinking, what is it?
It was a word. It was from the game. Like, I asked you that.
Did I get it right?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember what it was.
And it's just like,
I had to think about it for a long time.
Oh, like, yeah, if you've seen that or if you've heard those, like, it's those kinds of riddles over and over again. And unless you've, you know, again, if you've ever read a big book of riddles or something like that, you'll probably be able to just breeze through a lot of these. But I mean, still good, right?
The items with the chests you still have.
Yes, the items in the chest, the 20 questions like game is still very interesting. There's a lot of those that we failed just because we couldn't figure it out in time. And those can also be like all sorts of things, right?
Yeah, it's like anything.
Yeah.
A helmet, a spoon, like it just, it's like some object. That's all.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then I started and beat Arco. Good game, great game.
Great game.
Really got me mad at several points.
Until you hit like a tipping point, I feel like, where you from the outside looking at you play, you were very frustrated in the very beginning for a good chunk of it. and I think it was around like maybe Act 3, Act 4, probably more Act 4, that you like hit a tipping point and was like, okay, I know how to do the combat now. Like I get the curving, I get the dodging, I get the reading of patterns and stuff like that. And then that part sort of evened out for you.
Well, for me, it feels a little different. You're not totally wrong in your assessment, but I would say I got the combat and then I hit a wall where I feel like there's not difficulty spikes in the game, but there's like just different contexts that you might not be as good at. So the thing I got really stuck on was I had an encounter where a lot of enemies were spawning, and they definitely want you to kind of like the challenge is dealing with spawning enemies while also like maybe utilizing the environment to do additional damage in a good smart order. That was like the challenge. Like you're kind of juggling a lot of things at once. I really struggled with that for a long time, and I was stuck on that for a while. And that definitely got me mad because I was just so stuck. I'm like, I don't know how to do it. Got past that, cool. Smooth sailing for a while. Like I'd have just these moments of like hitting a wall. And I think when you hit those walls, it is really frustrating because it's like I just don't know what to do. But there are other things I got mad at. Like there's a moment where it's like narratively, it's like, and in your fury, you just decimate these enemies. But when I played it, I was not decimating enemies. I was dying a lot, and I found it just really anticlimactic. And to me, I gotta make a list of my gaming pet peeves. One of my gaming pet peeves is when narratively and even gameplay design wise, they're like, and look at how good you are. And I'm like, oh, my ankle. And they're like, you have to start again. Look at how good you are. And I'm like, oh, I fell again. They're like, start again. Look at how, it's like, I find that really takes the juice out of it. And other examples of this in games are when you have a chase sequence in a horror game, when you fail and have to redo it. It's like, it's kind of not even scary anymore. It's just kind of annoying. And there's like another example that slightly eludes me, but I don't like, where you think of even Alan Wake has that issue a bit where there's a sequence where you sort of are just like going through all these enemies, but like you can die, and like I died a couple times, and it's less exciting. It's similar to like, Control has the maze, and that's really fun if you don't die. But if the more you die, the less cool that sequence is, even though it is a very cool sequence, but like that is the danger and stuff like that. And I found that really like a big turnoff for me, where I'm like, why did you design it this way? If you want me to just be kind of like, and that, that's what I liked about Mario Land so much. When you become Giant Mario, you don't die. You just walk through everything, and it's awesome. It's like, just let me be Giant Mario, and if you want me to be that. But it's like, oh, you kind of want me to still feel like I just really don't like that stuff.
It's so funny because that was like honestly a top moment of a top gaming moment of the year for me. That sequence so
because I didn't do it well, and it's like,
no, fair. I get it. I
really
saw the frustration.
Game's fault in a sense, but I do think that like sometimes they leave a little bit sometimes leave too much room to fail in a state where they don't want the player to fail. I think if you don't want the player to fail, make it almost unfailable, and then. But I get how it can be challenging to make that still feel exciting. So, I'm not a designer. I'm sure it's a tricky thing to pull off. But whenever that doesn't end up working, I'm always like, ooh, it takes like all of the excitement out of it because you're just like doing it again. And I think another thing that was tough is that I didn't know. I mean, it's like kind of like a light spoiler, but like not that crazy. You do end up changing kind of the party construction and things sometimes, and I think. The pro of that is that combat always feels fresh, but the con of that is that by the time you really get in your bag, it's like now we're changing, and it kind of just felt like I could never fully enjoy my footing in the game. But anyway, that sounds like a lot of negatives. But I did really like the game. I think the turn-based real-time combat is really fun. Once you kind of get it figured out, I think it's very flexible in how you can scale up, and I really love that Oregon Trail narrative style.
The story was really fun. It was very basic and like MacGuffin, but like I don't know. The characters really had good writing. They had a personality to them and everything. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I think the plot is pretty straightforward, but I think the small moments are fun. And I think that's what's cool about the game. But I would say this is a good game that has like a cool story. I wouldn't say this is a story game. A lot of people try to sell this game to me as like, this is a game with an incredible story. It's a story game. It's not a story game. It's a game that has like a definitely predominant story. And I think it's one that people will enjoy and appreciate, but I think they're very more even in their parts.
Strategy action.
Yeah, that happens to also have a good story. And I think that is a big plus. and I think they do a great job integrating the story with the gameplay by giving you these little choices on like, okay, like how are you going to spend your money here? Are you going to get a shovel that'll help you dig? Do you want to hire like this guy? And I think I enjoyed the game the most in those earlier chapters where I felt like I got more of those options. I felt like I kind of got less of that as I went on in the game, which I was a little disappointed by because I really loved feeling like, okay, I'm going to save up all my money because I really want to hire this guy. And then when I hired him, he was like, I could fight with him. And I'm like, this is so cool. I have this extra guy helping me. He's got these different powers. And then like, I felt like I never had, I really like in games when I get different things I can latch onto to be excited about and to work towards. And I felt like after that first maybe chapter or two where you had that option, Arco didn't really have a lot of that anymore. Like it, you know, you could like fish. And I know there's like some optional, there's a lot of optional stuff I didn't do in the game, but I missed having like that strong feeling of like, this is kind of what I'm working towards or doing or investing in. But yeah, it is a really great game. So I gave it just a 4 out of 5 on my backlogged.
I'll take that.
You know, it's like, boom, cool. This is cool. It's good. So I'm glad I finished
making
it.
the top 10.
Yeah, it's my top 10.
Nice.
Spoilers for my top 10, but it's
Nice.
It's made its way there, which it was in my preliminary before, but now that I finished it, I think it went higher, but only because Critmaster went down, kind of, you know, situation.
That's going to be my next question.
Yeah,
is it above Critmaster?
Critmaster I dragged down a little bit. And honestly, Critmaster is probably like in a way the weakest game on my list, but it's so interesting that I'm like, and I really love that type. Like I have to put it on there. Like I really love that game. Even though like I have Helldivers 2 on my list, and I do think Helldivers 2 is probably a better game than Critmaster, but like Critmaster is more of a me game, and it kind of excites me more. So I have that like above Helldivers, which normally I don't really do that kind of stuff. But I'm like, you know what? This is just how I feel about it. I want to like have them ranked in this way, even though I think if I was more of a shooter person, I probably would flip those. But
random question, sidebar. If you had to choose, would you rather choose a game that starts strong and ends weak, or starts weak and ends strong?
Starts weak and ends strong, I think. But how weak is the weakness?
Let's say Arco and Critmaster, where it's like you started pretty high on one and you kind of wane towards the end, and the other you kind of, you know, was a little weak in the beginning. You weren't feeling it, but then like the more you played, the more you got into it, the more you seem to like it. Like which of those experiences do you enjoy more?
Oh God. Well, I feel like with that comparison, I still enjoy Critmaster more, just because Arco, I had a lot of different points of pain in Arco. Where Critmaster, it was all good, and then I was like, anyone else want this to be over? Me too. Like, you know. But I think back to the general question, I'd probably rather start weak and end strong, because then it's like, because if you start weak but good enough, it's probably like, oh, this is fine, and then you're like, oh, then it got really good. You know. I didn't feel this way, but like how you felt about Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. Like I was in from the jump with Prince of Persia, but I know you were kind of like, it seems fine, and then it kind of grew on you a lot. So. What about you?
I guess same. The Prince of Persia is a really good example of a game that I started very, very lukewarm on and then ended up very hot. Borderline freezing in the beginning. Like there were some parts where I was
really
so
like taken by how much you were like not into it at all. I was like,
and it ended up being one of my favorite games.
I was like,
oh
wow, I guess like I don't know, but you're not alone in that. Other people have told me they were underwhelmed by the opening. I knew right away that this thing was like fire.
I also just hate how this. He's not even the Prince of Persia, man. You playing as someone who's just the guard. He's the guard of the
Lost
Prince of Persia.
Crown, you know. That's part of the Lost Crownness of it. But you had just the run of a lifetime over here.
Yeah, I had a handful of games. Got through over the break. And this isn't even really all of them. This is just kind of the ones that are the most recent. I guess you could say I started and finished Days Gone over the break. It depends on how you want to say.
Back up after how many years was it?
Not years, like a year maybe, a couple months. A year.
I think it was years.
It was closer to a year. Picked up Days Gone and finished that.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah.
I never beat it.
Ended up being actually a pretty solid game. Like there are definitely parts that I would change if I could. There's a lot of like just draggy parts to it. There's a lot of back and forth and things like that. But like overall, I was interested in the story. I was interested to see like where things went, and the gameplay was not like so bad or anything that I didn't want to finish it. It was just like, all right, let's let's see what this man has to say now. Where do you want me to go and pick up some straggler from, or get some, I don't know, bottle of wine from some broken down restaurant to bring back to you for some experiment? Who knows, right? Like, they just send you on these runs. But eventually you get enough story beats. You find out about your wife, what happened. You go from camp to camp, meet new people, introduce new characters. It ended up being actually a really good time by the end. Long. I think it was like 50 hours.
Days Gone, more about Days Long.
Yeah, Days Long for real. In the game, there's like when you pause it, it's like, 782 days since the outbreak. And I'm like, man, that's how long it felt like I've been playing this game in real time.
It is very long. It is worth noting, and I'm not trying to start anything, but you did play it on easy, which there's nothing wrong with that. At a certain point,
I knocked it down.
There's nothing wrong with that, but I will say, for insight for the listener, to me, and like, correct me if I'm wrong, when you knock a game down to easy, it means that you're like, I don't really like you like that. I just kind of want to rock and ride, right?
No, because I would still do like side mission-y stuff. Like, I was interested in doing more that the game had to offer. It was just I did not find fun in the like
redoing of stuff
in their version of like sneaking around like zombies or clickers or freaks or whatever they're, whatever word you want to give them in this universe.
Freakers.
Yeah. It's like, I just don't find that fun. I think it's fun finding the nests. Like, there's like, like sort of these zombie nests all around the map and stuff like that. And so freaker nests around the map that you eventually, you go in, you can burn them down. That like reduces the threat level in the area, and it like makes it easier to do other stuff and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, those things are fun. But then like you come across a horde, and the hordes are just not fun to me. They're just long drawn out fights that hopefully you brought enough ammo to get through. And hopefully you're going to get overwhelmed. It's just like, how well can you deal with being overwhelmed? And then, yeah, like, it is what it is. It was a fun game. Glad I played it. We'll talk more about it when the next Days Gone 2 comes out.
Days Gone 2 we know is not happening already.
Yeah.
And according to Jason Schreier, they just canceled whatever they were working on.
I know, yeah.
So, scary times. But I'm glad you finished it, because I've always wanted to see what else was in that game, but I've never wanted to finish playing it. And I also didn't want to look it up on YouTube. So I've been asking Isaiah to beat this game since 2019 when it came out.
Finally did. It was good.
Yeah.
And then after that we have I wanted to get into my story game bag. I'm trying to live like Jay.
Trying to beat the allegations.
I'm trying to beat the allegations, play more of these story games, these narrative games that people keep telling me about in house. And I picked up Life is Strange True Colors, and honestly, pretty solid, pretty good game. I would even argue I loved a lot of the game. Barring the 5th chapter, I was not in love with what they did in the 5th chapter. The way they like went, I feel like the chapters 1 through 4 was so much of like you discovering who Alex is and like her relationship to these other characters in this town, this little small town. Finding fun adventures. You do a little LARP thing that was really cool. You got all types of cool, like, puzzle mystery kind of solving stuff. You're trying to manage people emotions. You're hooking people up in the town. You're doing a lot. There's a lot of going on for you. And then when it gets to the 5th season, it's like, oh yeah, also remember all this like childhood trauma that we said Alex had? Yeah, let's go back and visit that. And it's like, I don't care about that anymore. She's over. We're moving on. See, what do you mean?
And this is where you're going to struggle with these narrative games. If exploring childhood trauma doesn't excite you, I don't know what is here for you in this narrative genre. Like, I love that section of the game. I thought it was really cool. It was fun to see how much you did not like it.
I did not like it at all.
And I will say as well, something that you will get to realize depending on if you choose to play more Life is Strange games. I don't know if the other ones would hit for you, just because I feel like this is the best one. Next to like, I never finished 2, so maybe 2 is better. I don't know. I don't think so. I think this is still pretty strong. But another trope of Life is Strange in construction is that there's usually like a trippy moment, and like in True Colors, the trippy moment was sort of the like reliving, not reliving, but re-exploring, that aspect of the narrative. And it was actually one of the more grounded versions of that. Usually you're walking through like, without getting heavy into spoilers, in the first game, there's infamously this weird stealth maze that's like made of almost no assets. It kind of very much like, it's just very strange.
Okay.
Like as life is, yeah. And it's not fun and it's weird. That's normally kind of what they do with that. So the fact that they did something that I felt like was a lot more grounded and easy to navigate, but also still meaningful, like I thought was very cool. But obviously,
no,
you did not.
No, I super did not.
In your defense, one of your complaints was that it slowed down the action of the main story, which it does.
Yeah, it was as soon as like the heat of what's going on in this town,
Yeah.
this big mystery that you spent 4 acts going through and like figuring out and just sleuthing around town and talking to people and figuring things out. All that's like coming to a culmination, and then they just take a left turn down like an emotional lane, and it's like, yo, we need to be calling the cops. What are you talking about? You don't have time. You will deal with this later in therapy. You need to figure out what is going on right now. And I don't know. I just don't think they stuck that landing for me. I can see it being, really emotional and hitting with a lot of people, but for me, it was just like, you just ruined. I was so invested in this whole other story that you built up, and then you just took me this way. And it's like, all right, well, it is what it is. Still recommend it. Still highly like the game. It's just, it went from a love to just a like. It was a 4 on the Isaiah scale, and then it went back down to a 3.
You know what? 3 is a lot higher than
3 is a lot higher than a lot of games get. Yeah,
I will take that 3.
Yeah. Let's see. Speaking of force, though, on the Isaiah scale, which I don't think, did I give it a 4? No, I didn't. I gave it a 3. So I guess we're not talking about force. What the bat? We bust out the PSVR 2, and I was like, you know what? I want to play something different. I want to play something fun that I'm just gonna enjoy. Doesn't need to be like super intricate or deep or heavy or long or anything like that. I just want something fun. I want to have fun. You were like, I know the exact game to have you play. And you bust out the VR, started up What the Bat, and I was like, you know what, Jay, this is it. We're having games are fun again now. Yeah.
What the bats? I'm like, so you have hands, but instead they're bats.
Yeah. No, game is so good. It is a fantastic VR experience, VR game. It is just level after, I think there's something like, it's got to be at least like 20 something levels, 30 something levels, like in total. Probably even more than that, probably close to like 40 or 50, because like there's like 12 worlds or 10 worlds or something like that, and then in each world there's at least 5
something like that, or
6 like levels. So yeah, there's quite a lot of content in that game. Each one is just about you having bats for hands and interacting with the world to knock a trophy over. That's all you're looking to do, is the entire game. Really good. I forget the team behind it, but I was really burned on What the Golf on mobile for the longest time. I was burned on that game. I got to the very end. I did all the content, all the extras, and then the
Triband or Triband?
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Got to the end of What the Golf on mobile, and it just corrupted. And I lost all my data. I lost all my saves. I got to literally the last world, like the end of the last world before credits rolled, and it just could not finish it. And I was so bummed. I was so hurt. I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm down with these What the games. I know what the car came out. I was like, I don't know. Did they fix their tech? I don't know who's gonna. But then you recommended What the Bat. What the Bat's good. I'm back on team. Back on it. And then after that, back to the beating the story allegations, the narrative game allegations. Played Oxenfree. I think Oxenfree is the Cryptmaster of the games that I played, where like started pretty high on it. I was enjoying what was going on with the story, having a good time. Okay, there's like some mystery here. Oh snap, we're in a.
Hey, I like Cryptmaster more than you like Oxenfree, just to be clear.
I mean, I guess I wouldn't put this in my top 10 that I played this year. So I guess by default, sure. Although it didn't come out this year,
Yeah.
A little timey-wimey stuff. We're listening to this radio. We're checking in. We're trying to find another thing. But then, like, slowly but surely, the game's a few flaws, admittedly. Flaws started to show their head, where it's like, oh, man, I got to walk to the other side of this island. Way to just eat up 20 minutes of my time.
Yeah.
Or, like, I'm trying to find all these, like, rock piles to listen to the radio stations and get some extra lore that doesn't mean anything anyways, and then I don't know. There was a lot going on. It was another game where like after I beat the game, without getting into spoilers, I looked up to see like, oh, like what does this ending mean? Like the thing I don't like about games like this, is that you spend so much time sort of building up this mystery, this narrative mystery that the character's going through, and you're exploring, you're trying to figure out, you're like, oh, figuring out what's going on this island. And then you beat the game to supposedly finish figuring out what was going on the island. But then you as the player, I'm confused. I still don't know what's going on this island. And I hate nothing more than not feeling like I figured out what the mystery was by the end of the game. Why are we here? Why are you taking me through this journey if you're not going to let me cross the finish line with you? Like it should be very clear cut what the issue is, what the MacGuffin is, what the mystery was, what happened. You spell it out for me. Give it to me, even if it's in like text, if it's in a cutscene, something. I want to feel the relief of having gone through this journey with the characters. They seem to know what's going on. They seem to be pretty happy. I'm not happy. Why is there this disconnect between me and the characters?
Well, have you ever really been happy though? Is the question.
So I didn't like the ending of Oxenfree. I like the journey. I like the game. The story, the writing was all interesting. Not necessarily realistic, but interesting enough for, the characters and the, stereotypes that they were going for and the archetypes that they were going for and everything like that. But the ending, I just felt like you just pulled the rug from underneath me and it said it was done. And it's like, I guess, all right, fine. I'll see about Oxenfree 2. I want to play it. I'm interested enough in the gameplay mechanics that I want to see where they go with it.
I think you should have a gap.
Oh yeah,
a little bit of a gap, because
sure.
I think I don't know if you're gonna like Oxenfree 2. I don't think Oxenfree has the same like kind of same kind of feeling at the end. I mean, you might have the same feeling, but I don't think for the same reasons. Like it doesn't. I don't think there's like a layer of almost like a replayability to it that Oxenfree kind of has. But I might be misremembering. But yeah, I don't know. I think what's been interesting, getting to know you more as like as someone who's playing narrative games and what you feel with narrative games, is you get really angry.
Yeah.
Like how I get angry at Arco is how you get angry at like a story. If the story like doesn't go in the way that you feel like satisfies what you want.
It doesn't even need to be satisfying to what I want. Just satisfying in what I got. Like, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know, comparing, I'm going to get flack for this, I'm sure. But like,
hey man,
comparing,
I hit the Wii. You can't, it's the same space.
Comparing the end of Oxenfree and like what they give you and what they tell you and sort of like the information that like
you gonna mention Days Gone, aren't you?
Compared to Days Gone,
I was looking at like,
I like the ending of Days Gone so much more, even though it has like, less, but you know as much as the character you played as. I
think and obviously we're not going to talk about it now, and it's been a long time since I played Oxenfree, so I probably would have to brush up on stuff, but I did not find that that feeling of like, I still don't know what's going on. I did not feel that at the end of Oxenfree.
Really?
Yeah. I don't think I would like kill it if you said, right now, okay, gun to your head, you got to tell me what happened or whatever. I think I'd be pretty much fine though. Like, I know.
Again, I looked up ending explained videos and people explained everything. Like I'm not saying the game does not give it to you. I'm saying it was not clear to me
I didn't,
what was going on by the end.
In your defense, I can't really relate to that. Like, I just didn't feel confused. The only thing I was confused about or unsure was like, to what degree should I like kind of continue on my adventure to feel like I got maybe, not even like the true ending, because I know like a lot of these games have like the true ending and it's like you have to do everything, but just like more of an ending. And that's the only thing I don't like about, I don't like when a game is a little bit unclear in that, on like, hey, like, be honest, do I gotta keep playing? And that's kind of solved with just like Googling it, but I do hate that, like, even like an RE2 where it's like you play both the sides. It's like you really do have to play both the sides to have played that game. But if you only had the game to tell you that, you wouldn't know that. Yeah. And I feel like that's a little bit of a flaw in those types of games. I think maybe they don't want to discourage players or like force them to replay stuff, but there are certain games where it's like Nier is like that, I know. And I find that's also something that turns me off to Nier, where I'm like, I don't know, you guys said I have to beat it, and then I got to beat it like 8 more times. I don't think I want to do that. And they're like, no, like when you're in there, you like know what's going on. I was like, I don't know. So that's kind of just like, that's not my favorite construction in general, because I don't like that feeling of being like, is this extra or is this kind of like needed? Like, Because there are games where, like, for instance, Spider-Man Miles Morales, New Game Plus, that's the same game. That's like literally the same game. You do not need to play that unless you just want to, or you want the trophy, the platinum, which I do want the platinum. But like, there's other games where it's like, I'm not gonna name the game because I don't want to give it away, even though it's not that crazy of an ending. But it's like, oh, the credits rolled. Wait a minute, but I can still move. Okay, like, is the game still going? Like, was this a fake? Like, I don't really like those things because I just find it a little. I don't like that gray area.
Sure.
But yeah, like, I didn't have any of that. Your feeling of like, I feel like they know what's, and you didn't tell me anything. Like, I didn't feel that. But yeah, it's interesting. We learn another piece of the puzzle falls in place. I will say, and I think I was actually having maybe a bad day that day that I logged on a backlog and saw it. When I saw you gave Oxenfree 2 stars, I felt like gutted. I was like, oh my God. I don't know. It was just, it was a little bit sad, but I've recovered.
Well, it
took me like a good 90 seconds to really like, and then I will say I got reheard again looking at the fact that you gave Days Gone a 3.5 and Oxenfree a 2. Like that is,
I stand by
these
that.
Are criminal crimes here.
On the Isaiah scale, Oxenfree is a 2, and it was a weak 2. Again, that ending really spoiled, like really soured me. It was a week 2 to begin with, and Days Gone totally 3.
Yeah, it's funny. And obviously, we're different people with different game opinions, but like and I didn't watch all of your Days Gone playthrough because I have to, eat and stuff. But checking in with you and following that story, that story low-key pisses me off. I think it is, it really, like, and Days Gone has been dragged so many times that it's like one more time for, posterity. But like, I played about half of the game, and would you say I probably played about half from? I told you where I stopped.
Yeah, I played even more than half.
I played half or more than half of the game.
Yeah, I'd say more than half.
And so I had gotten some answers to some of the questions that were presented to the player, but definitely had more questions left.
Mm-hmm.
And I just feel like so much of Days Gone's story is like, you want to talk about unrealistic. It's like these are characters that never have any no conversations are really had about anything, and that pisses me off to no end. I feel like and I kind of hate to say this because obviously people worked on it and they worked hard on it, but Days Gone's narrative feels like it's something that someone fucking wrote on a napkin and slid across a table. Like there's like, it's like, okay, well, obviously you're going to add to this though. They're like, what do you mean? This is the story. And I found it to be like so unsatisfying and so like bare bones and just sloppy. I feel like every like big reveal, if you even want to call them that, it was like, I don't know. It was like, okay, we're trying to go to the store. Oh my God. The store is closed. Really? Yeah, it actually, like, the business shut down. Oh my God, this changes everything. Anyway, so we're just gonna keep going with what we're already doing. Like, nothing actually had an impact besides people went, well, this is news to me. And then it's just kind of like, it was just such a... Days Gone is like the epitome of like, that's right, girl, give me nothing. Like, I feel like they gave me nothing. And I was kind of upset by that because I thought I thought I would just get more from what they presented me with. I was like, wow, they're okay. They made this not a big change, but it was like, okay, they're going in this direction now. Mm-hmm. And what are we gonna get for it? They're like, you don't get anything. Why would I give you anything?
I will say I agree. Like there's a certain point in the game where you go to like this new location kind of thing. Like the world opens up and you go to this new space, and like from that moment on, the story takes like a turn. It is no longer about like what it was in the beginning of the game, and instead it's like this whole new thing, and they never revisit the old stuff either again.
Yeah.
But hey, I was still with it.
It's just, I mean, you are your own person. Yeah. And that's never been more clear than when you play how much you like Days Gone. But that was quite a ride. I really loved your True Colors playthrough. Made me like the game even more than I already did. I was like reminded by how good it was. Like I remember it being a great game. It was in my top 10. Really, it was in my top 10 that year that it came out, and I'm like, wow, this is like so good. And it was like a painful revisit after Double Exposure to see what does it mean for them to really make a good, again, maybe the same team that made Double Exposure. I'm like, wow. You guys fell really far, and it definitely brought it. What stuck out to me was like, wow, they really did do such a great job making this town like a place, and they really didn't do a good job making the campus like a place. Even though like my beefs with Double Exposure are way beyond like the campus isn't that interesting. Like that was the least of my critiques. But then looking back, I was like, yeah, like they just didn't really like you just didn't have that same connection. Anyway, but fun to check that out and excited to see what else you got going on. Before we go over to not games, I'm curious where you're at right now. Games beaten this year. Give me the total, and then you have your weird like I don't count these ones as much.
Yeah,
and you're still like kicking my ass. I'm pretty sure. So I gotta know what's going on.
Probably not. So far I've rolled credits on 4 games. But 2 of those, Days Gone and Life is Strange True Colors, I started last year, and it was just that I finished them this year. So they have an asterisk next to the beat because most of the gameplay was last year, but technically I rolled the credits this year. Outside of that, with the bat, Oxenfree, and then currently playing, I have Liz Fanga and Hollow Knight. We'll see how those go. I'm Liz Fanga, really cool. It's like a time trial kind of like action game kind of
that
thing.
Might be your Critmaster.
I could see that.
Even though I think you do like it less than I like Critmaster, but like the idea of like this is cool, I'm liking it, and then you're like it's kind of going on for too long.
I already feel like it's going on for too long, and I'm only like probably a third or fourth of the way through.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer.
But they are also introducing new stuff, again and again. So, what about you?
I don't do I did some of the gameplay. I don't care. Like I get credit for when it hits the credits roll out. I have Arco, Critmaster, and then this one is kind of like this one is really cheap. Short Trip. It's like literally 5 minutes, and they don't even roll the credits when you're done, which like is honestly like another L for Short Trip. Not that I want to drag Short Trip, but it just did not. I did an unscored review on Backlogged, which is just like this is very much like an artsy game. It's like it's hand drawn. The whole game's hand drawn. It's just a game where you're like you have a tram and you're picking up cats, like cat people, and dropping them off.
Okay.
So it's like a sweet time, but for me, I'm all in for like the artsy stuff, but I just need a little bit more to latch onto. Again, one of my favorite games I'm always talking about is that Oma, where you're just a kid walking with your grandma. There's like almost no gameplay. It's super short. I think that game is fantastic because the conversation you have with your grandma is really sweet and the art is great. Like it kind of all just like I felt like Short Trip didn't have enough, and like even though I knew it was like a 5-minute game, I thought we'd get more. I thought it'd be like, the music would be really like. I just felt like I wanted to feel like it was more affecting, and it just did not do anything for me. And I also think there were moments where I was like kind of confused on like, they have like a how to play screen, but I like didn't know when did I finish the game, and I like had no stuff like that. Also really like marred it for me, where I was like, what's going on? Like I just didn't think it really worked very well. But also this is kind of more of a maybe not for me kind of thing, just because it's like it already was really small. Like I don't know. I think it's a little. I wouldn't want to like give it like a full scored review because it's kind of like a funky thing. But I just thought there would be more. So it's like, if you're like me and you thought there'd be more here, there's not. But if you're just like, I just want to look at this because it has like really pretty art. Okay, cool. Maybe you'll like it more than I did. But I'm counting it as a credit. So we got 3. And I don't know what I'm working on now. It's all just blending together. But I'm sure we'll be back with more credits. Yeah, and you're like on a scary streak. So I'm excited to see where you end up. Now for our not game section. You can hear Isaiah crying on the microphone. Cry louder. The TikTok goodbye or TikTok eulogy. I feel like it's a little bit more of a goodbye than you because I didn't write anything.
Yeah, same.
Before I'm like, I don't think I want to, But yes, the TikTok ban has gone through like 8 different times. There's it's and that's why it's funny. You're like. And now the year can go. I'm like, this year sucks.
I was really thinking, I was gonna mention that, like, and I said at the top of the show, like, the rest of the year. At the time of this airing, here.
If you listen to it far enough into the Monday,
it might if you listen this Tuesday,
yes, it's all.
Oh man, Sunday, Monday, rough. But again, after that, once that show airs, then.
Which airs on Monday though, but
yeah, but just listen to it later in the day,
Yeah.
Oh, we got Super Bowl with Kendrick. That's great. That's good time.
They can't take
we
Kendrick
got
from us?
Switch 2 later this year. Oh, that's good time. We got games coming out. All this, maybe GTA 6. Who knows? Probably not. But who knows? Like it's potential upswing.
They're writing the TikTok ban DLC into GTA 6 as we speak.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, TikTok's gonna be gone. So I thought we'd take this time, and really, this is honestly. your idea to bring this to the show, which I think is a good one. Let's get into our history with TikTok. Around when did you like start using the app? Were you a Musical.ly person?
No.
Are you dancing before we met, lip syncing to the songs?
Oh no. I don't think I really knew about TikTok until I was at IGN. And I think our friend Ginger and Justin, they were talking about, I think it was the hit or miss trend that was on TikTok. I didn't catch it, but like that was the trend they were referencing. Oh yeah, no, it's on TikTok. You gotta get on TikTok. Blah blah blah. And I downloaded TikTok, and for a while I was, I think maybe like high school, college. I don't even know how old it was, so I could be just making up times. But I was like on iFunny for a bit, like which was like a meme app at the time. It was like a cross between like TikTok and Reddit. And eventually, again,
you stop laughing.
Yeah, you stop laughing for multiple reasons.
Oh no, did something bad happen?
I don't think anything necessarily bad happened, but it definitely is the kind of app where bad would happen. Like if I went there now, I'm sure it would be like, oh yeah, we got like some Pepe memes and all types of like crazy.
So maybe it like drew.
I think it might have drew a crowd that I'm not interested in.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
And so it was
the
like,
Facebookification of
exactly. And so, I'm like, oh, this TikTok, yeah, cool dance video. I'm not, super into the dance videos, but it's also, again, trends. I want to stay with the trends, stay on top of things. And eventually, it's just like, it became second nature after a certain while where it's like, oh, I'm waking up, I'm bored. Let's see what's on TikTok. Oh, you hear about something? Let me see if I can learn more about it on TikTok. Eventually, it became the source to like find information, like to Google things, like, which is weird. Like it was, I would stop Googling and I would go to TikTok and have someone explain it to me.
I've tried to start Googling stuff now to prep for TikTok ending.
Yeah.
And genuinely, like I forgot what the last thing I Googled was about. I mean, I'm sure I could maybe find it in my search history or something. I might have looked it up on Safari, which is whatever. The last time I search engine something, and I was reading through some of the answers and I was like, I guess I'm just not really going to know. I legitimately, I just gave up because it's just like, I think what was so great about TikTok, I guess first I should explain my history. I got into it, I guess, a little bit probably after you, but around that same time, that like 2019 time, because I was definitely on, I feel like I was on TikTok when Animal Crossing came out. So I do think I got on there a little bit before Animal Crossing, a little bit before the pandemic, I feel like, or just like briefly during the pandemic, maybe, like when it went from like, I wonder if we'll have to close these events to like we're closing society. Yeah. Like somewhere in that shift, I definitely had signed up for it. And it was just really fun to see what would sort of come up on there. I do think back in those earlier days of TikTok, it was more, like you said, kind of trend focused. Almost like, remember the energy of like the ice bucket challenge? It was like that energy was kind of on TikTok.
That was definitely a real TikTok era.
Yeah, even though it's like that predated, but it kind of had that energy, like, which was like, kind of interesting, but not like, sort of attention grabbing for me. And then as TikTok continued to evolve, like, I feel like the content just got better and better. Things would be, in the modern era, I get so many laughs out of TikTok. But also there's like creators where I just like really love their content, who do just like different niches. Sometimes there's people that do skits. There's like something that you might not know about me is I follow some creators that do like the fake stories almost. I mean, any story is fake because that's inherently what story means. Sure. But they'll do like there's this woman who, I think her name is Shauna, and she has like all these skits about like her. She really started about making like skits to show stuff about motherhood and parenthood and like how to support moms. And, a lot of people will do these skits and like, don't do that, bad customer service or whatever. But she kind of created like a whole universe of characters. Oh, and really? I watched so many of those videos.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And similarly, there's this guy, I think his name's like Nathan or something. I don't know. But he has really long, like beautiful straight hair. Kind of like, what's their face from
PlayStation guy?
No, what's their face from like the Queer Eye?
Oh, Jonathan.
Like they have really like long hair. It's like this guy had long hair like that. Okay. But he would often play with these women characters, but he like bodied these characters. And it's funny because he has a beard. And people are like, I always like don't even like register the beard when you're playing like these women. And he'll have these whole like different series. He kind of usually makes like kind of almost they're not even full parodies really, but like kind of mimicking maybe like rom-coms or different like POV, like the wife who just found out her husband's cheating, and it's like these really dramatic like I'd watch so many of those, but also like just a lot of fun gaming content. Like I don't take the time to watch a lot of people's like Twitch streams in entirety, but like I love like catching the streamers I like and seeing their clips, and
I've done so much discovery on TikTok. Like you said, of streamers, like you'll be scrolling by, you'll see a clip or a breakout show or a podcast or anime recommendation or TV show, movie. I can't tell you how many movies I've found out about like on TikTok and then sat through and watched like all 8 parts and then still went and saw the movie.
I forgot what movie did that with recently, but I was dead when Edwin was like, I also saw it on TikTok. I was wondering if it was good.
I think it was the Equalizer.
But to your search engine bit, if I wanted to know like anything about anything, I could just look it up on TikTok. And I think what was great is obviously like it's still the internet, right? So it's like you got to like use your own mind to like tell is something like good or not. Is someone telling the truth? Like all of those skills are always going to be important forever. But what was cool about TikTok is you had like such an anecdotal angle to things. It's the only reason I know how to clean anything is TikTok, you know, like our cat Bruce peed inside her little cat tree house. Yeah. And I was like, what's the best way to clean? I didn't look up like clean pee, but you know, I looked up whatever, like how to use it with like the ingredients that I had. It's like where I got the soap and the vinegar and the wand. And now it's like, I've seen so much on cleaning products. Clean Talk.
Yep.
I love the sub talks that are there.
Oh yeah. Like it's so good.
All the recipes. I've eaten so many good meals from TikTok.
Yeah, man.
Try to Google a recipe. It's trash out there.
It is really bad. Yeah. Yeah. I haven't gone through and done like much downloading of like TikTok content before the servers go down kind of thing. But honestly, the recipes might be the one thing I go through after we finish recording and like just to make sure I have these because some of these are really good.
Luckily, I had done a lot of that already in my my Notion cookbook. That's
yeah.
Some of I have a list of sources, and some of those are like TikToks. That's where we got the There's Food at Home woman who, with the pie, the chicken pot pie, and then there's the Momo Cooks with the I'm trying to remember the name of it. It's like that chicken, the chicken adobo. Like man,
yeah.
What's gonna happen now? What are some other things that you feel like TikTok gave you?
I guess it's hard to say. I don't know necessarily where a lot of these content like pieces like originate. Like technically it could originate in a YouTube short or even a YouTube video or like a reel or something. I mean, it's probably not real, but you know, it could originate somewhere else, but blows up once it's been uploaded to TikTok. But like, I think there's just so many just joyous moments and like quotable clips and things that just like Vine before it, like originated in Vine. You don't even think of it as like that. Like the one woman who does the Harry Potter giant, like when I make my move, then you're free to check the king. We quote that so often.
He's going to sacrifice himself. No, you can't. There must be another way.
You want to stop Snape from getting that stone or not? And it's just like there's just so many that what was her sister? Oh, witch. Like that like there's so many clips. And I do try to like now follow some creators like on other platforms, mostly YouTube at this point. Again, I'm not using Instagram, not using Instagram Reels. I'm just not. I'm not following you on Facebook. Like there's just some platforms I'm just not gonna go to. But if I see someone on Blue Sky, I'll definitely give them a follow there. If I see they have a YouTube channel, I'll give them a sub there, like to try and keep up with some of these creators. But it's mostly just like the joyous moments, the creators who just created fire, like year after year. Tony, I don't even know how to pronounce his last name.
He finally said it in a video.
I know, recently. And I don't remember.
Someone in the comments was like, "Thank you for saying your name. Now I know how to pronounce it."
I don't know where he's going, but I'm definitely going to look him up and try to find him wherever he's at. You know, I found Caleb City through this. I know he's on YouTube, obviously, and, you know, big there. RDC World, they got, you know, obviously on YouTube, but, you know, I found him on TikTok. Like, I found so many creators. And yeah, that's like really just going to be the thing that I'm missing. And I'm hoping that we find a substitute for.
I'm going to miss the stuff that feels so unique to TikTok. Because luckily, you know, people like I follow like a Naikashi, and she does like a lot of, she makes her own music as well, but she does like a lot of like makeup videos and stuff like that. And I don't actually use makeup very much, but I just enjoy those videos. And she also does like other content that, and she just has like a great storytelling. Like she was the one that I sent you that video where she made that song about that parking ticket that she got. You know, it's like she just has like a great energy to her, and it's like, okay, I subbed to her YouTube, even though I'm like, I don't really use YouTube like that, so I'm like, I don't know, well, like, but the content's transferable. The stuff I'm gonna miss is also the stuff that I don't think is gonna replicate on a different platform.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Like the incredible like transition videos for certain things. Those are so cool and so unique to like a short form platform that has trends. But there's also like I don't know if they're a couple or just a duo. There's like a account I follow where they do these really cool like fashion mixed with transition videos, like these really fun like in the now songs, and it's like you're gonna see that kind of stuff anymore because it's like I don't think they're really gonna, that carries over into like another platform because it's just like so unique to what TikTok is.
We didn't even talk about like song discovery. Like I follow so many playlists on Apple Music and like made my own where it's just like the viral hits, like the hits that come from blowing up on TikTok. And it's like, yeah, like these songs that I would not know of. I would not listen to these artists. There are whole albums and artists and discographies that I wouldn't know of.
There's like never, and this is a little dramatic, I'm sure there probably is an answer if we think more. I guess MySpace. Like since MySpace, there's never been like a platform so good for music discovery. And even MySpace was still like kind of, you were sort of like grassrootsing it, but I do think a lot of there's like, that was a lot of artists like did blow up in like that MySpace era. But even just the ease of like outside of discovery, I've liked getting reminded of songs that I forgot that I liked or that I knew. And especially when they add the integration of the add to Apple Music. Like I have this whole playlist of TikTok songs is like what the playlist is called, but it's got like plenty of songs that I knew outside of TikTok, but it's just like, oh, I kind of forgot about this. And it's like, yeah, this is good. Like, it's just, it's been such a good time. And even the updates I was skeptical on, like when they added extra like runtime to TikToks, like I enjoy not all of the like 10-minute videos, but some of those are like really great for like, oh, I'm doing a little chore or like I don't know how you're gonna watch a dish anymore without TikTok because you have that weird thing where you're like let the same video play 8 times. I would lose my mind, but like you enjoy that. And now what now?
I mean, like even
we're gonna have to start reading Isaiah.
Yeah, I know. Even like longer. Like there's even some stuff I didn't even think about until you just started mentioning it, is like the longer form things that also came out of TikTok. Like there's the Who the Fuck Did I Marry, right?
Oh yeah,
like,
man, what a great
that's
series.
like the more of my story. Yeah, like who knows what's gonna come out of that, you know? Keith Lee, obviously he's doing like a whole, like it started out as just these like short little food review things, but like he's in works and talks and doing something big. Like he's working on something big, probably like Food Network level, right? Of show or something. And it's like, yeah, I didn't even think about even just the longer continuous continuous through line content that also exists.
Yeah. I just think like the platform was, you know, I know some people, maybe some people have been listening, like, because I've talked to other people who aren't into TikTok and they're kind of like, oh, like, I don't think it'd be, you know, for me. And it's like, it always was. And it's not just because they have the For You page, but it really was for you.
Yeah.
In ways that are deeper than I've ever experienced on another platform. And I think what was so unique to it, it was one of the only platforms where I don't care about following people that I like in real life. Without even, I mean, if I like your content and I know you're like a colleague of mine, I'll probably drop you a follow on TikTok to support, you know, you putting your platform out there, but I'm not like looking to hear more from you because the For You page is so strong. And through that, I've ended up following so many creators that I don't get that same turnover and discoverability on other platforms. And the desire for it. And every other platform, I'm like, take me out of this Discover tab and put me into where I want to be. Here, I'm like, whoa, why am I in Friends? Let me go over. But what's crazy is all of it is good because it's like the Friends that, you know, again, if I follow them or if I'm mutuals with them, I like their content or who they are. So it's like, that's kind of like a fun, really specific angle. And then the other one is just like, it's so general and entertaining. And yeah, it just was really like, it was great to see. There's so many niches there on TikTok too. Like different people do their thing and their thing would be like wildly different from person to person. And you'd like learn so much more about like experiences and all of that. I
don't know where I'm going to get my next hoof cleaning video from, or random Pokemon card unboxing video.
Yeah. Like I'm trying to think of the kind of stuff that I had that I would like look at and sort of collect on TikTok. We're gonna have to go through those. The thing is, we only have today, right?
Basically? Yeah,
the day we're recording on Saturday. But I messed up all the stuff that I have for like I have 64 videos saved about our trip to Japan that I'm gonna lose.
You gotta get downloading, girl.
I don't know, but some of them don't let you download because they're not mine. You know, I had like so many things. It was just good for finding out stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad.
It's that time. It's Vine and I guess MySpace.
The salad I made yesterday, TikTok salad.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Really?
That salad's I'm like 98% sure it's a TikTok salad.
Yeah.
All the best recipes came from TikTok.
That's crazy.
How will I learn to dance and skate and do my makeup and clean any stain? Any stain I have, I could look up on TikTok.
Yeah.
And it would be there.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know what's next, where we're gonna go, or what we're gonna do, or who's gonna pop up. Or there's talks of to get a little nerdy, of like people. I don't know if you saw, there's like a Mark Cuban video where he was like, oh, hey, I can get behind. I'm down to like sponsor and invest in someone who wants to
make a new TikTok.
A TikTok on the AT protocol, which is like what Blue Sky uses,
and
it's like, I mean, I can get with that. I don't know if
Sky Talk
people can get with that, like, you know what I mean? Like it took so long, I feel like, for TikTok. Like TikTok is the longest, overnight. It's a long overnight success, right?
Yeah.
Like it took a while to, I'm sure, get its footing and actually gain users, but then once it did, it took off and skyrocketed. And it's like, well, who's gonna be that? You know what I mean?
I think too, just the algorithm is so good.
That's
what's kind of unique to TikTok. Versus, like, no offense to the people that made Blue Sky, still a lot of work, and still an ongoing process. But like Blue Sky, it's like, all we needed was somebody to make a Twitter clone.
Yeah, get out of the way.
That's it, basically.
Yeah.
And like the reason that Threads didn't take off, besides the fact that we all kind of collectively are sick of Zuckerberg and all his products.
Yeah, man.
Is also Threads was genuinely kind of weird. Like, I don't know how to explain it. It was just like the formatting was just different enough that it didn't feel right. It was weirdly like meshed with a lot of discoverability. So it kind of felt like something about it gave it a lot of LinkedIn energy that I just didn't like. I was like, I just genuinely don't like this product. I don't think it was like a good one of those, if we're talking about like Twitter clones, like just from that element. So it's like, wow, that didn't take off because it's the most popular one, but yet it just didn't do like anything. But yeah, here it's so much the algorithm. And that's the thing too, like with every other like that Twitter to Blue Sky transition, it was a lot about, well, I want the people that I follow on Twitter just to go to Blue Sky. For TikTok and the idea of what comes after TikTok, I don't care necessarily. I mean, I love the creators that I do follow and that I see, but I don't necessarily care about those creators. I care about the experience of being on TikTok.
Yes.
I care about the person I don't know, that I've never known, coming up on my For You page to talk about,
how to manage their books or something.
Yeah, like how did their no spend go last year? How like I get so invested. I think it's like the quickest you can get invested in like a stranger saying something. Where I'm like watching these videos like fully into what's going on. Don't know this person, never met this person, will never see this person again because I'm going to swipe past. And I'm still like eating up the content if it's presented in a way that it engages me.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's fully set in for me yet, honestly. Also, never got into that creator fund. Really a little salty about that. So, sometimes I didn't fail. I just ran out of time. You know what I mean?
There you go.
Like,
yeah. It wasn't that you didn't
I'll
get it.
always be
that...
at that 6K. I was 4K away. And maybe some view time, depending on where things were at.
They took TikTok before you could do it. That's what it is. Yeah.
So that's a bummer. But any other final words as you pick up the dirt and like let it drop onto?
No, I'm just gonna miss it, man. I gotta find a new.
Oh, we gotta mention TikTok time too.
TikTok time is also dead. Like, I don't know if we're gonna go to bed. Try to go to bed early today so we can do it before midnight. We don't know when the actual like cutting of TikTok will happen. So if there is things we want to do, we should do that ASAP. Like, or as soon before probably midnight New York time that we can, because I feel like after that is when it's like open for getting cut. So yeah, maybe
we should have cleared our whole day today and just done that today.
Honestly. Maybe we'll do like a 8 p.m. TikTok time just to make sure we get through anything, or I don't know, but yeah, no, TikTok. We gotta find a new
this is where we
pattern.
we send each other TikToks and then we watch them all together before we go to bed.
And which I feel like is
somewhat common.
Is a fairly common thing.
I've heard a couple different
for, like,
people
couples and everything. Yeah,
do that. It's the best way to go about doing it. Otherwise, you're not going to open it because it's like, I don't know. It's all like sitting in this tab.
Yeah.
So that's TikTok. But with every death is a birth, right? There's something there, right? Y'all know the saying. So with this, let's talk about birthdays. I don't know. It's very Pokemon Go to the polls with me, but
yeah.
Which
is also TikTok. I believe blew up a lot on TikTok.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Gosh. Anyway, so we have birthdays is the other thing we want to talk about. Just kind of swinging the opposite direction from death to birthdays. We thought about this topic because my birthday was recently. If you weren't aware, it's because I did not say anything about my birthday because it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm not saying that you're not inherently a bad person if you post about your birthday doing the LA fires and live in LA, but I felt like I would feel like a bad person if I did. It just felt kind of weird. But also beyond the like, I'd feel like bad about it. I also just like was not in the mood at all. Like, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a drab time. Spoilers, I think we did end up, I had a pretty good day and a good time on my birthday for what it was, within that context. Was able to get into a good mood and that was great. Before we break down how my birthday went this year, I want to know, what's your history with birthdays growing up? Like, what did birthdays look like for you when you were a young warthog?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I feel like I had a pretty normal birthday vibe growing up, right? We didn't have too many like hard traditions or anything like that, but we had like some staple things every year. You get cake, you get ice cream. I can't wait to talk about your growing up because apparently like cake and ice cream is the weird anomaly there for some people. But like, you get cake and ice cream. When you're a little kid, you have like a party, right? Your cousins and aunts and uncles and everyone come by, friends and everything like that. As you get older, I would say like, definitely more, by the time you're in high school and teens, you're not having a party necessarily, but maybe you're doing something, right? Like you and some friends, you go do like laser tag or like someone has a pool, oh yeah, we're going over to my grandma's house for my birthday. We're having like a pool party kind of thing. From there, the older you get, the less in both more you do, right? And then like once you start getting into like adult discretionary money, and it's like, oh, maybe you travel for your I'm doing like a birthday trip, right? I've had friends where we do like a drive to New York City or something like that, or like a flight to somewhere or something like that. And it's like, all right, okay, cool. Like, yeah, like you can do this in summertime, especially if you have like a summer birthday like me. It's like, oh yeah, like let's do something fun. Let's go somewhere. Let's do something big. But now that I'm, 31, it's like, well, I don't know, my birthday, it's a lot more, especially in the post-pandemic world too. It's like, for the most part, it's like, I just want a chill day, right? Maybe we do something fun. Maybe we, definitely eat like a good meal, either go out to eat or something like that, right? I still want my cake. I still want my ice cream. Those are the childhood niceties that I'm going to try to hold on to as long as dietary allows, right? But yeah, like, I don't know. I don't need to go to Ibiza or something. But hey, if there's like a new movie in theaters, yeah, I'll definitely do that. I'll splurge. I'll get the popcorn and the drink and the nachos while I'm doing it.
Cool, and, $70.
Yeah, exactly. And have a good time. I was never one of those like birthday week or birthday month people. I just never could get with that. To me, it's like, you get your day. That's it. If you got a shit day, hey, it fucking sucks for you, but you get a day. But yeah, no, for the most part, I feel like pretty tame, pretty normal. Curious to hear how you the opposite end.
In comparison, you have lived a life of luxury to my birthdays. Yeah, as a kid, I've never had a birthday party, not once in my whole life.
Really?
Yeah, I've never had a birthday party.
I guess like you don't have like cousins and stuff.
I had
like
cousins.
That. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like it like in Chicago, like when you were growing up and everything.
Yeah, in the suburbs of Chicago, we had my cousin's house. That was like the spot to go for like, their kids had birthdays, and I went to those parties.
Okay.
Right. But I have my parents, and those kids have their parents, and I don't know. Yeah. Oh yeah, they definitely could have. They happily would have. hosted that for sure as a spot, but
Okay.
my parents never thought to do that for us, is what I guess is the charitable reading of that.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I never had a birthday party like that. My birthdays were always exclusively growing up. It was just me and my family. I don't even think I ever had a friend like join for a birthday. Yeah, but ours were, we had a cake. I think you could have ice cream. Like, no one just really requested it. I know that was like a big, like, mind-blowing thing to you. Like, it's like,
it goes again, like peanut butter and jelly, cake and ice cream.
At some point, I definitely think we've hit up the ice cream cake a few times. That definitely has made its appearance. But yeah, you get a cake. When we were really little, like, we would get decorations. I think maybe even when we were old, in high school, maybe I got decorations. I don't really remember. I'm gonna guess no. But, like, like 4 or 5, yeah, like they put a tablecloth down. This is happy birthday. Maybe there's like 2 balloons there and like a banner, It's like not crazy, but like a little, like, you come down the stairs and you're like, oh, it's my birthday, It's cute. So we had that. And then, so I imagine when we were like kids, that was probably basically all we did. Maybe we went out to eat at like a Chili's, and I just didn't really remember because I'm like 7 or 5. As you got older, it's kind of the same deal. Like you go out to eat either like a Chili's, a TGI Friday, something like that. And maybe you watch a movie as well. I know, like, for one of again, me and Edwin had like the same kind of birthdays. Like for one of Edwin's birthdays, we saw like one of the new Star Wars film. Now would be like the the prequels, basically.
Gotcha. Okay.
Is it's like, oh, we ate at like a Chili's or an Applebee's, and then we like walked over to the theater, like one of those plazas, Yeah, and that was the birthday. You got like a gift, or 2. I don't really remember how many gifts we got. I know it wasn't like a lot, but you got at least a gift. My uncle, who you met, the one who came into town, he would always give you like $50 in a card, pretty much. He was like the standard for, in my mind, what an on-touch uncle should be, which is they see you, they're cool, they're chill, and they bring the coin. That's the thing. I gotta get my paper up because you got a lot of people on your side of the family. I gotta start handing out some cash because I feel like that's the role you play if you're playing it well. So yeah, and he even did that when he would visit too. Not $50, but he would give us like $5.
Yeah.
And he'd say goodbye. We say bye, and he's like, "Here's $5." I was like, "Yeah," and like it was one of those things where you knew you were getting the $5, but you also knew like you couldn't act like you knew really too much. Like you had to know in your head that like this is like a nice thing, not like in a know what I mean. Like let's be polite about this, but it's like
you owe me $5.
It's like I think we would never. It's like but I think I'm probably coming up on $5 here. And it's like and that was pretty sweet. So yeah, good on him. That was always fun. But yeah, like I said, it was just my family. So just my mom, dad, my brother. Like no. Maybe one time he came by like as a happenstance or something. Yeah. Like he knew when your birthday was, but it wasn't like we're doing this for your birthday. Like there was any of that. There wasn't like a time in the yard. There was like a cook. Like none of that. Yeah. In high school, I don't have like a strong memory of my birthdays. I think I had probably a little bit more autonomy in what to do because I spent more of that time with Edwin and his girlfriend at the time. So like they kind of were taking on the role of parent, and my dad was kind of, he's like, I think I'm kind of, sort of taking a step back and reassess it. Like he was still there, but he's never been a big plan man. So I think he probably would show up and pay for things, but he's not going to be like, hey, I know you love this thing. Let's do that. Nah, it wasn't like that. I know for one of my birthdays though, my mom did take us to, it's kind of like Billy Bees. It was called Jeepers. And that was like the only like Zag birthday I can remember having where it was like a legitimate surprise. I had no idea where we were going. One of the years too, I don't know if it was for my birthday or my brother's birthday, but she also took us to this place called GameWorks, which you know GameWorks.
Oh yeah.
And that was also a surprise. And that was definitely like a come up because it was like, okay, you do know we like games, but like what are the chances that you're really gonna like pull off something good? And it was really fun. Like GameWorks is a fun place. It's like if you're not familiar, it's like Dave & Buster's. Yeah. Essentially. But I think a little bit more games focused. So it was like, oh man, that was really cool. And maybe I don't know if Medieval Times was involved in a birthday for like my brother. That's possible. That would
definitely be too expensive for us.
That's possible that Medieval Times. I don't know if Medieval Times was like a random day or someone's his birthday.
Yeah.
I think it might have been his birthday. So there definitely are a few variations that can happen. But honestly, like, for all the flack I give my mom, she was not, she got her own problems. But I do think she had those like moments of like, okay, she's like doing something here versus like, other people, maybe not so much, not gonna name it, right? So it was pretty low key times, but yeah, there were a couple pops like that. And I remember those, and those were really fun because it was like, oh, it's like a cool different thing. But yeah, that's it. Birthdays now. We sort of made like our own. Again, none of these people are really parents. Like my brother's not my parent, so like as like an older technical adult, it's like we're gonna do our own stuff, like our own kind of traditions. So I think it's kind of interesting and unique because I was still young enough that I was a kid, but old enough that I was like aware.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's almost like, what if like those kids that get granted, like, I forgot the name for it, but like legal independence, and like that's always a weird trajectory. Yeah, it's like it's always kind of a weird trajectory for those kids. Like something's kind of going on. It's almost like that vibe of like, well, what are we gonna do? It's like, okay, we're gonna take our like 8 sticks together and like make a fire. So our thing was like the midnight birthday cake, happy birthday thing. That's kind of like a tradition that we started when we all lived together. So that was like a thing that I've had and mostly done. We didn't do it this year because we got my cake like just the next day, and like honestly, this year was like was literally on fire. So that's like way different. But that's a cute little thing. I think it's fun. It's kind of nice to have like something almost like what we do for Christmas. Yeah, as like we do Mexican Christmas, so it's like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. It kind of has a fun trajectory like that. So I do like that. I think that's pretty fun. And nowadays it's like something nice to do, A lot of times we go out to eat and have a nice meal. Not necessarily always, but almost always. Or we like order some food and it's like chilling that way. And then like sometimes we do a thing, right? Maybe I can't really think of too much like what specific stuff like you and I have done for my birthday. If we've done any like eventy things for my birthday, maybe not. But that's not because really. I didn't. That's just because I didn't pick anything. You know what I mean? Like if I wanted to do something, obviously if I wanted to do something really big like Disney, like that would probably require like pre-requested, pre-planned.
Yeah.
But yeah, like anything I want to do, we could just do. If I'd have you guys,
whatever you want to eat, whatever it is you want to do that day, like
you're sort of king for a day.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we've shifted in the modern era. Especially because COVID happened and we had to do everything inside. So when COVID hit, we kind of switched birthday to being like, you are the boss of everybody, which like low-key a little dangerous because like it's like, no, you have to, but it's also kind of fun. I don't know. I think everyone has like a good attitude about it. No one takes it too far. It's not like, I want you to like clean my toilet with a toothbrush.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I guess you could ask for that, but like you're kind of a jerk. You know what I mean? It's like, that's kind of weird. Like no one makes it weird, but it's like, that's the day where it's like, if I want Isaiah to play Jack 2, I could ask him,
request it, and
he would play it.
Yeah.
And that's sort of what we've shifted birthdays to being. But again, it's within reason. Like no one's really abusing that for anything. But if it's like, it's a great time to, I'm sure people listening can relate. If it's like, oh, you've wanted to finally finish this game together. You know what? We're doing. I'm using my birthday to make you play this game with me. Yeah. So yeah, that's where we're at now, and I think that's like
solid,
a nice spot to be in. I enjoy what we do, our festivities.
It's good.
I also haven't really been a big birthday week or month person. The most I did for my birthday was last year when I turned 30. I'm like, I feel like I should do this up more. So I did have multiple celebration days of like, I'm gonna, have like something with you. Like we're gonna have like a meal with Edwin. We're gonna do. So that was more of like I got a massage maybe. I kind of just I thought of what are ways to make this week nice.
Yeah.
Which I still think is cool if you can, afford it. Birthday week doesn't have to be you're just a jerk berating everybody. It can be like little things that you do for yourself, and I think that's like a nice thing to do.
Yeah. It's also rough where we both kind of run into this for different reasons. Where it's like, oh, the beginning of the year, like your birthday. I know, like last year, or like for like I don't know 2 years or something like that. Like it kind of got cannibalized a little bit by like content.
Yeah, man. Me, that game of the year.
Yeah, I'm like right at what used to be E3. Now it's like Summer Games Fest time.
Yeah.
So like sometimes in the modern era, it's like, oh, Janet has to work. Like she can't be around for my birthday, or like, oh, this big thing is happening on my birthday. Like,
basically I have to work on everyone's birthday. My birthday, your birthday.
Yeah.
No, this year I did not work on my birthday, but if ever was monkey's paw, I was like, first year I didn't have to, go to work on my birthday, and then it was like, oh,
yeah. Well. So yeah, we'll see kind of how that continues to progress with our careers and professional lives and everything like that. But I think for the most part, I'm fine with like sort of like a Valentine's Day or anything like that. It's like I'm not one of those people who like super strict where like I need to have the day. Where if it's like, oh, if the day just like logistically works better, especially like if my birthday's on like a Wednesday or a Thursday or something, and it's like, oh well, nothing's happening Friday, Saturday. All right, let's just do the celebration Friday, Saturday. Like it could be easier, it could be more stuff available. You know, I'm fine with that.
I prefer my day, but here's the thing.
Sure.
I don't mind doing like more stuff on like a weekend. Like I've kind of opened up to like, you know what, let's just on the weekend or whatever. It's just easier. But I still want like I need something on my birthday because it just psychologically like you still just know it's your birthday. You know what I mean? So it's like I gotta have a little something. Maybe I can get the I like what we did this year with I had my gifts the night like the midnight when midnight hit. At least from you, and then the next day we did the cake, and I got my gifts from Edwin and all that. Yeah, and that really boosted my spirits this year because like the day before my birthday, it was like I think it was the second most stressful day of the fires. Where like the day before, it was like okay, like we packed our bags, it was very high stress. We got like a false evacuation warning, and then we got multiple at night that woke you up that kept me sleeping. So I'm like, great, now I know if Isaiah leaves, I'm gonna die because I'm not gonna wake up to the alarms. Yeah. And then the next day just still kind of felt like it's just dark, it's stressful of a time. Everything's bad. Like I don't have, I could go on, but like I think you guys get the picture of like if your birthday's around a tragedy, like especially one that is like the closer it is to you, the more it like weighs on you as well. Like it just was really dark. And I'm like, man, like this kind of sucks. And then also, you have, which I still don't know what it is. We were going to do something. Yeah.
There was a secret event that I got us tickets to, and we were going to go do it and do dinner, but we got to postpone it until a future date. Yeah. And we'll circle back around when that's closer.
I'm still very excited for because it's funny because you seemed unsure, and you're still unsure, I think.
Still unsure, yeah.
You seemed cautious about the idea of surprising me with anything. I love being surprised with stuff because I just love stuff, and I love being surprised. And it's like, a little treat that you didn't know about.
I mean, I like that conceptually. My issue is that in practice, I feel like you're banking so much on an unknown that could go either way. It could be really good, it could be mid, and it could be bad. Like for a birthday, you get one a year. So I prefer to have like, that's why we do like lists, right? Yeah. It's like, oh, like I might go off list, but give me some items I could safely get that you would enjoy getting for your birthday, for Christmas, for whatever. It's like, oh yeah, I want to make sure the baseline is good. And if we can surprise you to great, fantastic, right? Even better. So yeah, I don't like surprises. I don't like giving surprises unless I have like a separate safe bet.
I like it because I don't have to also like do as much. I love not being involved. I like good things happening and not being involved, It's why I like, when we have dates where one of us plans and the other one doesn't know as much about it. Like that's cool because it's like I don't have to do anything. Yeah, and good things still happen, and that's great. Not that we ever plan like any event that's like too like layered. It's like, I don't know, what are we eating? And it's like, whatever. But I think that aspect is nice. And again, as we just talked about, I actually have a lot of, most of my birthdays are so like, what do you want to do? It's like the fun is in the zag of like, oh yeah. Like, and I get what you mean though. If it's whack, that probably isn't as good as if it wasn't whack, right? Yeah. Inherently. But like, I don't know. I just want to party with the strange, I want to see what's there. So I'm excited about that. Yeah. And the not to like, give all the insights on my birthday or whatever, but your surprise gift for my birthday was I think my favorite gift that I got for my birthday.
Really?
Yeah. Right. Isaiah got me the Target kids cat piano.
Yeah, ages like 2 to 4.
The one that I think we probably saw on TikTok, and that's how we found out about it. Yeah. It's like, it looks like a cat. Yep. You can make it make meow sounds, and it goes meow 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 meow.
Yeah.
And I am dumb. And I like the piano also. And I love cats.
It was a perfect trifecta.
So I was just like so excited to see. I was like, it's the cat piano.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I got other stuff too that I liked as well. Things that I had on my list left over from Christmas and stuff. And my brother, same deal. He got me some stuff from there and all of that. But yeah, I was like, what a fun little surprise. So yeah, birthday definitely improved with I got the cat piano.
Got this cake. We finally tracked down
the cake. Yes. Cake. Tell me, what is the also? I think we need to zoom out for a second because one thing I want to address is that what I wrote in my notes are kind of funny to have for a show because they're always a little dramatic. But I put my most recent. This is the topic that we're on. My most recent birthday, and also how it's Isaiah's biggest stress of the year. Can you
1,000%?
break this down for me a bit? Because every year I get concerned when my birthday's coming up. I check in on you. I say, hey, how are you doing leading up to my birthday?
I think it's a part of it. So, like I just said, I never want to. I care. I'm not gonna say little about my birthday, but I'm very easygoing, right? In general. And then when it comes to my birthday, even more so. It's like, oh, cool. As long as I get something, watch a usually a Pixar movie drops, something like that. It's like, oh, maybe we'll go see that, or oh, there's a restaurant. I like pizza and wings. We order pizza and wings. That's a good birthday to me, right? I don't need a lot to be happy for it to be special. If I get some cool gifts, great. If not, also good. I feel like for you, because I know you like to do things up more, there's always this like underlying pressure of like, oh, I have to make sure that things are done up enough. Like you guys have your little again, you mentioned like the cake and presents at midnight tradition thing that you guys started, and for a while when we were living with your family and stuff, we would do like the whole decoration thing where like, oh, you put up streamers or balloons, you get a sign, you get a crown or something, right? Like you do all these things leading up to the birthday, and then when midnight strikes, you walk the person, you're like, oh, hey, sorry, could you help me with something in the living room? And you like walk them in and you flip the lights, and everyone knows that like what was going on, but it's like still the joy of and the fun of the motions. And for the longest time, like that's all new to me because my birthday is so chill. I grew up in an era of like, maybe you do something, maybe you don't. Either way, it's gonna, you're having a good time. But you guys had expectations.
You were living with, I think, people that, not to play Oppression Olympics, but I think a lot of those people are traumatized individuals.
No, sure,
who crave.
I did not spend time with my family on my birthday.
Of the birthday. Yeah, I'm a big holidays person. I love the holidays. I love decorating.
And
I love celebrating.
And that's great. And your birthday, the reason the birthday is hard is because you can't do that for your own birthday. I have to step in and fill your shoes to do that. And that is stressful.
And this time they're big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
My 5 feet tall shoes.
Yeah, man. So last year you wanted this cake that you found on Instagram. And it's a beautiful looking cake. It's like a red.
Whoa. Oh. I did not find this cake on Instagram.
Oh, the link you sent me was to Instagram.
Yes,
sorry.
I searched up best birthday cake. I did various searches on Google. Google finally came in for something. Best birthday cake in LA. Best cake in LA. Like I was looking on Eater. I was looking on Time Out. I was going to the food journalist, to be clear. No shade to Instagram, But also maybe some shade to Instagram. It's owned by Zuckerberg. I don't care. But yeah, and that's one that came up. So resume.
So you found this cake, however you found it.
Yes.
And you sent it to me. It was like, hey, I would love to get this cake for my birthday. And I'm like, okay, cool, fine. Cake, I bought cake before, to me, I'm like, oh, we're going to we're going to Sam's Club, we're going to Costco, we're going to Walmart, we're getting a sheet cake, call it a day. You like your cakes a little bit more decadent. Yeah. You guys are,
I'm a foodie, so I love to, I love trying stuff.
Exactly.
And I'm extra.
Exactly. And so I'm like, all right, fine. I'll call the bakery. They don't answer. And this is last year. I'm trying to get in contact with this bakery to put an order in for this cake. And again, your birthday is so close to like the holiday season that I'm like, I don't know. Maybe they close for the holiday. It seems like a family owned business. So it's like maybe they just close for the holidays and they come back in the new year. I didn't know what was going on. Reaching out to them. Finally got a hold of them at like after New Year's, right? It was maybe like January 2nd or 3rd or something like that. It's like, post New Year's, got a hold of someone. I was like, hey, I want this cake. The date is this. I want to pick it up. And they're like, oh, sorry, man. We can't do that. We need like 2 weeks to do that cake. And I'm like, what the fuck kind of cake are you? It's a cake. What do you mean you need 2 weeks to do a cake? It's a cake.
Bakery.
In your bakery. Is this not your profession?
And it's like not a wedding cake.
It's a normal cake that like you serve. Like it's not. Yes, it's not a giant cake, a tiered cake, or anything like that.
It's the smallest size cake they do sell because we only it's like three of us.
I'm like, well, what do you mean? Anyways, they're like, yeah, so call back next year. I was like, okay, I guess. I went to you. I was like, hey, they said they need like just like 2 weeks and $1,000 deposits to make this cake. Do you have a backup cake that we can get? You gave me a backup cake. I ordered the backup cake. Picked the backup cake up. It was great. It was fine.
Yeah,
it was
pretty good
another
cake.
bakery. Kind of like
very
in the
pretty
area
looking.
bakery.
It was Hanson's Bakery.
Yeah.
Nice.
They have some other like just cool looking cakes.
Yeah,
too.
and I think are they the ones that did like Kim Kardashian's birthday or something?
Oh,
like that?
maybe. I don't know.
I'll look that up in the meantime.
Yeah.
But
So this year comes around. I still have the link in the description and the message and stuff that you sent me for the original cake that you wanted, which by the way is, like I said, a gorgeous, beautiful looking like red velvet cheesecake where it's like red velvet cake sandwiching a layer of cheesecake. It looks good. It looks decadent. It looks
they
delicious.
made Northwest's birthday cake.
Oh,
the Hanson's
okay.
Bakery, not the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
They also did the cake for Michelle Obama's book release, Kylie Jenner's 18th birthday, and many other star-studded things. So yeah, I was trying to
Janet's 30th
I was trying to eat and my
birthday.
Game Monster's 30. I don't know actually when they're going to contact me for this photo.
to get added to their site.
They also made a cake once for Sabrina Carpenter back when she was younger.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, but yes, they honestly I wouldn't mind going. They seem like they do really cool decorative.
They do. When I went in there,
specialty
they had
cakes.
this like hamburger cake. Like
I know
it
that
almost
sounded
looked
so
like a
cool.
Krabby Patty. Like it was really cool. They had like a baseball one. They had a couple of different just like funky looking cakes that I thought looked really cool.
And it was pretty tasty. It was a little. I mean, it's cake, but I
Yeah.
did find it to be a little too sweet. I know that sounds dumb because it's cake. But it looked like a birthday cake from a cartoon. Like it was so pretty and pristine. Anyway, resume.
This year rolls around, and again, I'm like, I'm on it. November came. I had a reminder in my app. I'm like, on December 1st, I need you to contact these people because I want to get. I'm trying to talk to them weeks in advance so that they know I could put the order in, pay for it. I just got to show up and pick it up. Starting December 1st, I tried calling. I could not talk to them. No one would pick up. It would ring. Sometimes it would ring. Sometimes it just go straight to voicemail. Oh, sorry. The caller you're trying to contact had not set up voicemail. So you call back later. And I'm like, all right, I guess. This went on for like 2 weeks. And then around like the 16th, I brought it up to, I don't know if it was you and Edwin or just you. I brought it up to you guys effectively. And you guys started helping me like look into it because I'm like, hey, I might need a backup cake again this year. I don't know if you want to do the same one, a new one, or what. But in doing all this,
I really want that cake.
Yeah. I think it was Edwin who like looked up the Instagram to the bakery and saw that like, oh, they just have like there's like telephone like service issues where they're at, and so like they had a post like, hey, sorry, we're working with AT&T to get service back up, blah blah blah. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, all right, cool, maybe that's the issue. Maybe they just didn't have a phone line for me to actually talk to them on, so that's why they weren't picking up. Give it like another week. I think it was like the 16th this happened. I came back on like the 18th or something, tried calling, still no line, still could not talk to anyone. I forget when it was. I did one final call when they did pick up.
That was like pretty close-ish to my birthday. But before all of that, or somewhere in that, I remember you said you actually were able to get on the phone with them, and they said you're calling too early for the cake.
Yes,
because I remember the different things that started to break Isaiah down.
Yeah. Well, no, that was last year. That was the first year where like
early.
No, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah. You did get through at one point, or
I got
maybe it was
in November.
Yeah.
That was the November.
And they were like,
calling.
"Why would you call so early for this cake?"
I was like, "Hey, I want to get this cake." They're like, "Oh, okay, when's the birthday?" I was like, "January." They were like, "That's too early. Call us back, like a couple of weeks out."
Which also,
and I told them like, I tried to do that before.
Why can't they just write it down?
Thanks, yo.
No, I don't know. I kind of can get it because maybe they don't want to be like backlogged with orders where people end up like falling out or whatever on it.
I mean, I guess.
Continue.
So.
Now that I'm taking the bakery side.
Yeah, why are you taking the bakery side?
Well, when we talk about the cake, we might things might become clearer. Okay.
So let's call it like the second, right? I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do one more call. This is my last call. I'm gonna do it right here with you guys because I'm telling you, they're not gonna pick up. I put the phone on speaker. I call, and of course, that is the one time that they pick up.
I stand up. I start clapping. I'm crying, screaming, throwing up.
I run to the room so I can make sure I hear them. I don't want any interruptions. I don't want the TV on in the background. Nothing. I want to be crystal clear that I'm ordering this cake. And I'm like, hey, I want to order this cake. Blah blah blah. So I'm on Instagram. Let's call it this. Can I get this? This is the date I want it for. Cool. And they're like, yeah, no, sure. Took the order. Paid for it online. They said, all right, we'll see you on that day. Come by around noon. Pick it up. I'm like, all right, great, cool. I walk out. And very happy that I was able to order the cake, but also defeated in that, of course, it's the time in front of you guys with an audience, and I'm like, look, they're not gonna pick up. We're gonna need a backup cake.
He wasn't calling. No,
yeah, in fact, like it makes it look like I wasn't trying. I'm like, oh, come on. So, all that to say, day of, go pick up the cake. Cake is dense. The bakery is a small mom and pop. Again, like I said, family owned looking bakery over in Inglewood. Pick up the cake. It looked good. She bring it out. It's decadent. It looked like a just gorgeous sweet red velvet cake. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. They have other stuff in the bakery as well. They had like a banana pudding cake, which I love banana pudding. I don't know if anyone knows this about me. I love banana pudding. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna get this birthday cake, but also give me a slice of this banana pudding.
Yeah,
cake
they had like
try it.
Let me know if I wasn't there with you, but the they have like slices in little containers, basically,
yes, like
almost like
already
you would
sliced.
at a cafe kind of setup.
Exactly that.
Okay.
Yep. So I get the stuff. She hands me the cake, and she hands it to me in my hands. I'm like, God damn! Like in my head, I'm like, yo, this cake heavy as fuck. This is like a dense cake.
And I want people listening, think about how much this cake weighs. Like, put your guess in now.
Oh yeah, because we did weigh it, right?
We did weigh it. This is exclusive content because I've been waiting to post it on my social media because I'm like, I don't want to talk about my birthday yet.
Yeah.
Literally. Okay, think about it. So you have your answer. The cake.
And this is, mind you, like a 9-inch.
Yeah.
12-inch diameter cake, something like that.
Yeah, actually, keep going. I'm gonna try to get the measurements of like the. Actually, no, I'm just gonna go for it because it's like enough to serve. I don't know, 5 people or something like that.
Something
I don't know.
Something
like that. The cake was 7.5 pounds.
Yeah.
This cake weighed as much as like a medium to small cat. This was like the size, like picture holding a baby. Now picture that baby made of cake.
So
it was very dense.
Pick the cake. We cut into it. I'm not gonna lie, it looked good. I'm getting excited looking at this cake. I'm like, all right, maybe there's a reason why it costs so much and it's so hard to get. Cut into it. We all take our first bite and we're like kind of blown away a little bit. It was pretty good.
I was probably the coolest on it at the jump, but the when I had another slice later after it went back in the fridge, I was like, yes, it's really good. And we've now been living with this cake for a week. A couple of notes in this cake. One, this is the first birthday cake in the history of, in my opinion, I think, of birthday cakes where we didn't finish it, but also didn't throw it away yet. Because a lot of times, like at a certain point, a couple of days later, you're kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of nasty, right? And it usually does kind of get nasty. It gets like more stale.
Yeah. No.
It is just as moist,
just as good as the
first day that we got it. And I'm almost done with it finally.
Yeah.
I think I have a couple slices left to knock out. I'm definitely going to try to knock it out this week because I don't have a cake for like 14 days. It's kind of nasty, I think. Frosting, I think best frosting I've ever had.
Delicious.
Perfect amount of sweet.
Yeah.
But then what really blew me away was when I tasted the banana pudding. For context, for me and banana pudding, I think banana pudding's fine. I'm not really like, I never really crave it. I'm not that into it. Frankly, I never had like that, the way you have it where you got the little wafers?
Yeah.
What are those called?
Vanilla wafers?
Yeah, the way you have it like that. Like, first of all, I don't even know if I ever had banana pudding before I met you. I gotta be honest.
Really?
Yeah. I never ate banana pudding.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think I ever really had banana pudding.
Makes sense.
Whoa. Look, this is a melting pot of a country. I could have eaten banana pudding, but I didn't. And I think it's fine. I don't really like it like that. I know you really like one of your birthdays, like that was one of your requests. You're like, I'd love the banana pudding. And I like made it. You told me how to make it and I made it. It was cool. Whatever. I'm not in love with it. It's not my kind of snack or dessert. The banana pudding cake that I tasted from it is literally the best cake I've ever tasted in my life, I think. It might even beat the German chocolate cake that I loved in Chicago, which I haven't gotten to retaste in a long time. Which is that they make a German chocolate cake, so I also want to have this bakery. This is the one.
This is the one.
Right. This I'm done looking. I'm done looking for a go-to place for cake. This is going to be, and I'm excited for us to go casually and just pick up some slices and just try that out in preparation for future birthdays. But yeah, it's really, really good.
It was really good. So
it's really good.
That was the adventures of the world's hardest cake to track down and get 2 years into making. But honestly, kind of worth it. The cake is really good, and it's definitely like a top 5 cake. Especially like it's a good red velvet, and the cream, like, the cheesecake part is also really good. Yeah. And again, like you said, the icing's really good. The volume's good. The weight is good. It's just,
and it's the perfect level
great.
Of sweet to me.
Yeah.
I think it's because the way Edwin described it is it tastes very like natural. Like it doesn't taste like it has a bunch of like artificial sweetener.
Sure.
Or and obviously sugar is natural because it's part of nature. But it doesn't taste. It tastes like it became sweet through innovative means. Like it doesn't just taste like, oh, they just put more sugar in it. That's why it's sweeter.
Yeah.
Like it's so balanced.
Yeah.
Is a thing. And that was my beef, if you want to call it that, with the Hanson's bakery cake. Really liked it, but I felt like it was a little too on the sweet end. I don't know, it was kind of a lot. This was like perfect.
Yeah.
Perfectly balanced. Yeah, really good. Well, you survived another. Congratulations on surviving my birthday once again.
Thank you.
Definitely a tough one with the fires.
Definitely a tough one with the fires.
Because I was really in low spirits the day before, and then when I got my gifts, I got really excited, and I thought it was really fun. And when I woke up the next day, I had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys. We got some good foods. I got my lox bagel in the morning.
Yep.
I don't remember if we got Ike's that day or the next. We got Ike's the next day, I think. Probably we ate for lunch. We ate La Authentica tacos.
Oh yeah.
So we had some good tacos. I forgot what the dinner was. Maybe that was dinner because I know we ate
late.
I think
the tacos was dinner and then the Ike's was lunch.
No, we got Ike's the next day. It doesn't matter. We ate some of my favorite foods in the city. Yeah. So that's that was a good time. Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, it
was good. We watched Ocean's 8 again.
Yeah, great movie, man. I still love that movie. Yeah. Finally bought it because I got tired of
played some games. We'll talk more about that next week. Adding board games to the game section of some of the stuff we picked up and checked out. But yeah, it was good. It was a good, cozy, chill birthday. Yeah. I'm excited to see what
another one down.
What your thing? It's funny. You have like all of your stuff is like a year delayed. Yeah. And I know it's not your fault, but you're like, I was surprised. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, yeah. You've been you've faced a lot of adversity. Tell me about a time where you faced adversity at work, and these birthdays are really really doing it to you. But yeah, I enjoy my birthdays. Thank you for coming to my party.
Of course.
And yeah, excited for more birthdays to come and fun celebrations that we're gonna have this year. I feel like this year's, despite a rough start and rough things on the horizon, there's also good things on the horizon. Yeah. You know, we have a lot of fun stuff. We haven't mentioned on the show yet, but we're the Coachella.
Yeah,
that's gonna be really fun.
Coachella.
A bunch of other stuff. So yeah, we'll be talking about all our little adventures. It's our first full year as season ticket holders for the LA Galaxy.
Yeah.
Our first real season all the way through. Yeah. I can't wait to see what merch we buy and all that stuff. Because I know we'll be buying more stuff. But anything else you want to say on birthdays before we continue on?
No. Happy to see what comes up for me. Again, my birthday's in June.
Your birthday? Oh, but we already know what we're gonna eat.
We do?
Yeah, you had picked it.
Oh yeah, I think I want Castaway or something.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Yeah, it'll be good.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. You're gonna be the birthday boy. You'll have fun. You'll spin around and I'll go, yay.
Yeah.
Play my birthday playlist and stuff like that. And I just make playlists for everything. That's really the big takeaway. For poll the show, you finally made the magic show pollometer. What's going on here?
Made a systemic change to the way we do the poll of the show. No longer are we shackled to Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. We've migrated. Now you can go to gamesandnotgames.com/poll. And every week, if there's an active poll going, it'll direct you to the poll. Easy way. One link. You can always remember it. You can hit it every week. When you're listening to this right now, assuming it's between Monday and Friday and the poll is open, go to that link. You'll be able to answer this week's poll, which, by the way, is what?
This week's poll is what? Sorry, no, just kidding. This week's poll is Switch 2 a day one purchase for you? The options are yes, maybe, need to see more, or no. And then you'll also have a separate optional question of tell us more about your answer. So this will be a great place for you to, like, you know, on Twitter, you would just do like a reply to the tweet potentially. But here we can like just more easily collect stuff. And yeah, super simple. You don't need anything. You just click on it. You don't need to be logged into anything.
Yeah.
It's just free form.
Take you to the Google form, answer the question. You don't have to give us your email. You don't have to have a Google account even. It's just a way for us to more easily and universally run these polls and hear from you guys without, like I said, being tied to any specific platform. So definitely check it out. Let us know. And eager to see the results.
Yeah. And that is it for this week. You can send us your questions and topics to the email inbox at gamesandnotgames.com. You can follow the podcast version of the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pocket Casts, and everywhere else you get your podcasts. If you enjoy the show, be sure to give us that 5-star rating.
5 stars. And if you're an audio listener, remember you can get the video version over on
Cinco
YouTube.
Diamantes. You were thinking that too, weren't you?
No.
Oh, really? I thought you were.
That's so funny.
Okay, go ahead.
You can get the video version over on YouTube at Games and Not Games. If you like the video version, be sure to leave us a like as it helps us get in front of more people. And in general, give us a follow over on social media. We're on Twitter at Games and Not. Everywhere else at Games and Not Games.
Take out the TikTok.
Blue Sky. TikTok's gone probably by the time you're listening to this. And Twitch. You can also, if you want to know everywhere, I don't know how we can work this into the outro, but if you want to know everywhere you can listen to the show or watch the show, go to gamesandnotgames.com/Gangcast. That'll direct you to our show page, and from there you can listen to it directly or find it on the podcatcher of your choice. Until next time, gang gang.
Gang gang.
Peace.